Chapter 51. Yagura looked at Chen-Hui coldly and said, "Do you think just 300 or 400 of you can challenge my position?" "No, no, no." Chen-Hui shook his head when he heard this. Then he smiled slightly and said, "It's not 300 or 400 people. 101 of us are enough." Arrogant. Yagura suddenly felt angry. Then he roared angrily, "Then let me test how weak you are, and how dare you be so arrogant." As he spoke, Yagura's hands quickly formed seals. When Chen-Hui saw this, he no longer hesitated. He immediately formed a seal with his hands. The next moment, bang, 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 four sounds of smoke exploding sounded, and then 4 clones suddenly appeared behind Chen-Hui. At this time, Yagura hadn't finished forming the seal yet. When he saw Chen-Hui, he summoned 4 clones. He immediately formed the seal and coldly snorted. "I thought you were going to use some ultimate move. Why? You were not confident enough to use Shadow Clone at the beginning and wanted to besiege me." "No," Chen-Hui said lightly. "These 4 Shadow Clone are prepared for the 3,000 Mist Ninja behind you." Yagura's face twitched and he immediately asked, "Why? Do you think these 4 clones plus the 100 people behind you can deal with my 3,000 army?" "More than enough." Hearing this, Yagura was about to be outraged by Chen-Hui's attitude and tone. He laughed angrily, then turned to the Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost and shouted, "Lead the troops to deal with those ignorant guys from Uchiha. As for this guy, leave it to me." Having said that, Yagura's seal is finally completed. Water-style Water Dragon Bomb technique. Then he shouted loudly and spit out a water dragon at Chen-Hui. Looking at the incoming water dragon, Chen-Hui curled his lips in disdain. Then he quickly completed the seals, completing all 6 seals in 1 second. Fire-style Great Fireball technique. Then, Chen-Hui spit out a huge fireball at the water dragon. Is it only to this extent? Looking at the fireball, which was several times smaller than the water dragon, Yagura suddenly shook his head in disappointment. "I thought he was a master, but I didn't expect him to be a smooth talker. The information given by those. But this is understandable. After all, in order to cover up its mistakes, Third Hokage deliberately exaggerated Chen-Hui's strength, which also silenced the people in the village." While Yagura was thinking, the fireball and water dragon collided hard. But what happened in the next second immediately shocked the jaws of those watching the showdown. The Great Fireball, which was only a C-level ninjutsu, instantly defeated the B-level ninjutsu water dragon that was several times larger than it. Then the power of the Great Fireball remained unabated, and it quickly charged towards Yagura again. Yagura was shocked. At this time, he had no time to complete Water Style's complicated marks. In desperation, Yagura subconsciously jumped out of the Great Fireball's attack range. But at this time, the Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost quickly stepped forward, pulled out Samahata from behind, and then pointed the top directly at the Great Fireball. The next moment, Great Fireball collided with Samahata. Then, the Great Fireball began to shrink rapidly and completely disappeared in a moment. At the same time, Samahata in the hands of the Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost also broke free from the bandage and appeared. From a distance, it looked like a big-mouthed fish. Chen-Hui in the distance saw that the Great Fireball had no effect, so he was not depressed. After all, it's just a small, tentative attack. If the Mist Ninja can't even block this attack, then it's really weak. But Piccolo Yagura didn't think so. He didn't expect that Chen-Hui, who was only a C-level ninjutsu, could exert the power of an A-level ninjutsu. He doesn't know that Chen-Hui still has the cheat of breaking through the system. Great Fireball is the universal number of Uchiha. Almost all Uchiha people can use it, and it is very grandmaster. Therefore, in battle, Great Fireball, a light and fast ninjutsu, has become one of Uchiha's commonly used ninjutsu. After Chen-Hui activated the boundary breaking system, the boundary breaking system instantly broke the bottleneck of the Great Fireball, bringing its power directly to a level. If the A-level Great Fireball is fully deployed, it will be a giant Great Fireball with a diameter of tens of meters. However, Chen-Hui condensed it into a regular size, greatly increasing its power, and was able to defeat Yagura's Water Dragon technique in an instant. Yagura looked at Chen-Hui solemnly. He didn't expect that a seemingly ordinary attack would be so powerful in Chen-Hui's hands. After this trial, he suddenly did not dare to be careless in the slightest. Yagura said in a deep voice to the Watermelon Mountain Blowfish Ghost, "Immediately lead everyone to destroy the group of Uchiha behind Chen-Hui. As for Chen-Hui, leave it to me first, and then come and help me after you finish Rebellious." "Don't worry." The Pufferfish Ghost grinned, showing an extremely terrifying smile. Then he asked hesitantly, "What about Terumi Mei and others?" Looking at them, they don't seem to have any. Yagura was reminded by him that there was Terumi Mei and his group nearby. He thought for a moment and said, "Then ignore them for now and wait until we finish dealing with this group of Uchiha. But you should keep some people on the sidelines to prevent Terumi Mei and others from sneak attacks." The pufferfish nodded. At this time, Chun Hui's faint voice also came over. "How's it going? Have you finished discussing how to deal with me? If the discussion is over, let's start quickly. I'll deal with you as soon as possible. I still have things to deal with." Yagura and the pufferfish couldn't help but grit their teeth when they heard this. Arrogant guy. Then the pufferfish ghost no longer hesitated. After leaving hundreds of people behind, the remaining people immediately started to kill Chen Hui from the right. After all, Terumi Mei and others are on the left, and the pufferfish ghost doesn't want to confront Terumi Mei when the time comes. After all, his status in the Mist Ninja Village is now only lower than that of Yagura. Even if he captures Terumi Mei, there will be no big gain. Moreover, Terumi Mei is Kaga level no matter what, and his life may be in danger if he is not careful. The pufferfish ghost's little calculation was making a loud noise, but Chen Hui didn't pay attention. He waved his hand, and the 4 clones behind him immediately led Uchiha Mine and others towards the Fugu ghost. Then, the two parties immediately started a fierce fight 100 meters away on the right side of Chen Hui. But at the moment of the confrontation, the Mist Ninja felt something was wrong. The Mist Ninjas were like cabbage facing Chen Hui's clone. It was not easy to kill a child with a knife. The pufferfish ghost also wanted to quickly kill a clone of Chen Hui at the moment of contact. But the clone was just a knife, and it left a mark that was as deep as the bone on the careless pufferfish ghost. The pufferfish ghost was immediately horrified when he saw this. Although he was hit just because of his carelessness, he had a feeling that as long as he fought with this clone, he would not be able to hold on for a few moves. So he quickly shouted, "Concentrate your strength to deal with these 4 clones first." Those Mist Ninjas were also scared. After all, within a few minutes of the fight, dozens of them died under the sword of Chen Hui's clone, and even their commander was seriously injured. So after hearing the order from the pufferfish demon, the group of fog ninjas united and took the lead in attacking the clones without saying a word. Each of Chen Hui's clones will be besieged by 400 to 500 people. The pressure on the rest of the Uchiha tribe was greatly reduced. Each one faced 1 to 3 Mist Ninjas according to their strength, and also blocked 400 to 500 people. The entire combat power of Mist Ninja Village was intercepted by Chen Hui's 4 clones and the 100 tribesmen led by him, and it seems that Chen Hui's side has. Chapter 52. It seems that the Mist Ninja that makes you so confident is nothing more than that. The difference in numbers is more than 20 times. It seems that I still can't stop my Uchiha, 100 people, plus my 4 clones. Chen Hui looked at Yagura with a sarcastic expression. Yagura had a sullen expression and did not answer. This time the Kiri ninja's performance was indeed very poor, and he was unable to refute Chen Hui's words. After all, even if Chen Hui's clone doesn't take action, 100 Uchiha tribesmen can still suppress nearly 500 Mist Ninjas. From this point of view, the combat effectiveness of Mist Ninja Village is really weak now. Stop talking nonsense and watch the moves. Yagura shouted, and then rushed towards Chen Hui with a stick in hand. Regardless of the situation, Chen Hui raised his mouth teasingly. "Xiang compete with me in physical skills?" Tesuke. It seems that he is angry from embarrassment. However, facing Yagura's attack, Chen Hui still stood there casually, without any intention of defending. Soon, Yagura came to Chen Hui. Seeing that Chen Hui still looked indifferent, Yagura immediately gritted his teeth and said, "Arrogant guy." After saying that, he hit Chen Hui on the chest with one palm. At this time, Chen Hui raised his hand casually and easily blocked Yagura's palm. However, at this moment, a change suddenly occurred. Yagura smiled coldly and shouted, "You have fallen into a trap." The next moment, the hand he hit on Chen Hui's arm was wrapped in a dark red chakra. Then, Chen Hui was knocked out uncontrollably. But after sliding back a few meters, Chen Hui stopped easily. Although Yagura's move was very surprising, it still did not cause any harm to Chen Hui. The tailed beast's chakra burst. "This move really surprised me. It's far from over yet." Yagura sneered. The next moment, at the spot where Chen Hui was hit by Yagura, strange red coral spread rapidly, covering Chen Hui's body in a moment, leaving only his head outside. Yagura said proudly, "This move is called Coral Palm, and it can only be used by mobilizing the Three Tails chakra. The person who is hit will be restricted from movement for a period of time, just like you. Suffer death. Saying that, Yagura glanced at the battlefield on the other side and found that the mist ninja was at a disadvantage and quickly formed another seal. Secret. Then, a drizzle of light rain enveloped the entire battlefield. As if they had predicted it, those mist ninjas left the battlefield and formed a mark at the same time. Uchiha and the others were confused, but those fog ninjas would definitely not give them an explanation. They quickly started to kill Uchiha Peak and others again. Uchiha Fong sneered and said, "Although I don't know what tricks you were playing, keeping the distance is your biggest mistake." Afterwards, Uchiha Fong gave several people around him a look, and then they quickly started to form seals. Fire Style, Great Fireball Technique. Fire Style, Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. One by one, huge fire styles quickly attacked the group of fog ninjas, but the group of mist ninjas didn't seem to see anything, and they were still heading straight towards Uchiha Peak. What conspiracy are these fog ninjas playing? Uchiha frowned, but the next moment his expression changed drastically. The fire style they used started to disappear quickly after being caught in the rain. Fire style completely dissipated in the air before it spread a few meters. Uchiha Peak, who turned on the three Magatama, can see. After these strange rains come into contact with their ninjutsu, they quickly offset the chakra in the ninjutsu, so their ninjutsu quickly dissipates. Uchiha Fong suddenly cursed secretly, "Damn it! What tricks have the mist ninja developed over the years?" He has participated in 3 wars, and Uchiha's opponent during the 3 wars was the Kiri Ninja Village. At that time, Mist Ninja Village did not have such weird abilities, otherwise it would be hard to say the outcome of the 3 battles. Uchiha guess was right. This move, Cut Rain, is the new attack that the Mist Ninja has developed over the years. When the summoned rain falls on the ninjutsu will quickly dissipate. However, if you form a special seal, you can use water style in the rain without being weakened. What Mist Ninja Village is best at is water style, and this trick also has big flaws. First of all, it is difficult to learn. Currently, there are only a dozen people in Mist Ninja Village who have learned this trick. Secondly, ninjutsu requires a huge amount of chakra. Not only does it require chakra to perform, but even the counteracting ninjutsu requires the same amount of chakra as the ninjutsu to offset. Therefore, in this battle involving thousands of people, Yagura, who is a Jinchūriki, can use this move. Now we're in trouble. Watching the mist ninjas begin to form seals, Uchiha and others suddenly frowned deeply. Those people of yours will probably be dealt with soon, and it's your turn next. Yagura took a few breaths and looked coldly at Hui, who, the next moment, dark red chakra quickly enveloped him. Yagura was on all fours, with 3 tails of dark red chakra sticking out from behind. Go to hell! Yagura roared angrily, and the distance of more than 10 meters was covered by him in just an instant. Hui's figure was getting closer and closer in his eyes, and he aimed at Hui's head from a distance, and then excitedly stretched out his hand covered by the tailed beast chakra. If nothing unexpected happens, Hui's head will be blown open by his fist in the next moment. But will Hui be captured so easily? The answer is of course no. Just when Yagura was extremely excited, he suddenly felt something on his face, as if he had hit a boulder. Then he flew out quickly and inexplicably, and was knocked dozens of meters away in a moment. After hitting the gate wall of Mist Ninja Village and completely shattering it, Yagura was buried in the ruins. This huge movement immediately attracted the attention of everyone present. The forces from the 3 parties left the battlefield and turned around to look. I saw Hui surrounded by corals in the distance, and a huge golden half-skeleton made of energy appeared around him, firmly protecting him in the center. The skeleton made a show of punching, and then slowly retracted its fist. Apparently it was this skeleton that had just knocked Yagura away. At the same time, the meridians began to gather on the skeleton, and in a moment, a giant wearing armor and with great power formed. It's the clan leader's Susanoo, an Uchiha tribesman said excitedly. Susanoo? The fog ninjas looked at this scene in surprise. For them, facing this giant that is as tall as a tailed beast and more than 10 meters tall, they probably don't even have the courage to resist. The same is true for Terumi Mei and others in the distance. Have they ever seen such power? Susanoo has disappeared from the ninja world for decades. However, there are still people present who know this technique. He is Yuanshir, the elder of Mist Ninja Village who has lived for more than 70 years. At this time, he also looked shocked and murmured, I once heard the ancestor Mizukage mention it decades ago. Uchiha Madara, the Shura of the ninja world, he can use this powerful ninjutsu to summon giants to surround him. The possessor of this ninjutsu has the power to destroy the world. Uchiha Madara once used this technique to wipe out a country in less than half a day. Then, Master Yuan looked at Terumi Mei seriously and said, "Now it seems that your choice was correct. This Uchiha Chenwei has the potential to reach the level of Uchiha Madara. The future of the ninja world will be rewritten by him." Advertisement. Chapter 53. Terumi Mei did not respond to Yuanshir's words. At this time, she was also shocked and lost her mind. She secretly sighed in her heart. First, there is the ninjutsu that can destroy the Mist Ninja Village, and then there is the ability to summon this giant that is comparable to a tailed beast. Chun Hui is only 13 years old, but he already has power that ordinary people can't get in their lifetime. What on earth did he go through? Putting aside the hatred that Chen Hui threatened her with, Terumi Mei couldn't help but become curious about Chen Hui. On the other side, Chen Hui turned on Sage mode, and with the blessing of the magic chakra, he easily violently broke through the coral around him. He ignored Yagura, who was buried under the rubble, but looked at the battlefield on the other side. Except for Chen Hui's 4 clones, the remaining Uchiha clan members are completely at a disadvantage when facing the Mist Ninja who can use water style. Seeing this, Chen Hui murmured, "This technique is indeed a bit troublesome, but that's all." Then he didn't hesitate and quickly started forming seals. Sage art, fire style, the fire is extinguished. The next moment, the monstrous golden sea of fire suddenly spread towards the sky, illuminating the entire battlefield. Originally, in the dark environment of Mist Ninja Village, people basically had no feeling of warmth. But after Chen Hui released his ninja, everyone present felt as hot as the scorching sun in the sky. At this time, Yagura's cut rain was completely useless against Chen Hui's attack. It was evaporated into mist by the extremely high temperature before it even appeared. As for the ability of cut rain to weaken chakra, immortal technique chakra is no joke. That's a power that even the truth-seeking ball can't block, let alone a small ninjutsu like this. Chiayu was destroyed by Chen Hui almost instantly, but this was not without its drawbacks. The entire battlefield was suddenly filled with thick fog, and this environment is the best fighting place for the Mist Ninja. But Chen Hui would not make such a stupid mistake. After solving the Chiayu, he immediately formed another seal. Sage art, wind style, infinite great breakthrough. Chen Hui opened his mouth and vomited, and a violent hurricane swept across the entire place. This mist was completely vulnerable to the hurricane, and was blown away without a trace in a matter of seconds. Everyone present tried their best to resist the hurricane, but many people still disappeared in the thick fog. Super Kaga level strength. Even this ordinary ninjutsu, the power can change the world. The terror of a Super Kaga level strongman can be seen in Madara. Fortunately, Yukiamine and others were smart and stayed away from the battlefield the moment Chen Hui took action, so they were not affected by the hurricane. But they won't miss such a good opportunity. Yukiamine shouted. "Use fire style in conjunction with this hurricane and wipe out these fog ninjas." Yes, the others responded one after another, and then quickly followed the wind and started to perform fire style. Fire style, great fireball technique. Fire style, fire dragon flame bullet. However, the next scene immediately made Yukihamine and others dumbfounded. Their fire style was blown away by the hurricane at the moment when their family was hit by the hurricane. Chunhui glanced at this group of people and couldn't help but roll his eyes. This is sage art. With the ordinary fire style used by Uchiha Peak and others, how can they complete the compound ninjutsu? The power is not equal, okay? Then, when Chen Hui saw that not only the fog had completely dissipated, but also nearly 100 fog ninjas had also been affected by the hurricane and disappeared, he stopped using the wind style. The storm dissipated, and the mist ninjas breathed a sigh of relief. In order to withstand this hurricane, they tried their best to release chakra before they could stabilize their bodies. And in less than half a minute, their chakra was consumed by at least 30%. If it continues, they will be swept away by this hurricane and not know whether they will live or die. Just as the group of mist ninjas looked at Chen Hui in shock, a faint moonlight enveloped the battlefield. Everyone couldn't help but look up, and the beautiful stars in the sky were displayed before their eyes. Especially some female ninjas couldn't help but become a little crazy in this extremely beautiful scene, and even forgot that it was still a battlefield. This kind of night view is a rare sight in the land of water in 10 years. Because extremely thick water vapor has enveloped the entire kingdom of water, it is impossible to eliminate this water vapor unless the scorching sun lasts for dozens of days. But Chen Hui just released a fire style, and it evaporated all the water vapor in a radius of hundreds of meters. This kind of power to change nature, coupled with the tens of meters of giants around Chen Hui, made all the fog ninjas who came back to their senses feel chills in their hearts. Can they really defeat this terrifying man? Boom! At this moment, there was a violent roar and explosion, which made the fog ninjas come back to their senses. They followed the sound and saw an unknown red chakra rising into the sky from the ruins formed by the walls of the Mist Ninja Village. Then everyone watched Yagura, wrapped in Three Tails chakra, step by step out of the ruins. Unforgivable! Yagura raised his head and looked at Susanai's Shiki with gritted teeth. Then he immediately got down on all fours and opened his mouth to chin. Waves of deep roars sounded, and a stream of black-purple chakra began to condense around Yagura's mouth, forming a ball in a moment. Small-tailed beast bomb. Tailed beast cannon? Chen Hui narrowed his eyes slightly. When he saw this scene, he immediately remembered a scene from the original work. As a result, Chen Hui showed a very interested look. Just let me try what it feels like to hit the tailed beast bomb like a baseball. Thinking of this, Susanu's thoughts suddenly began to change along with Chen Hui's. Susanu made a move with her hand, and a golden blade appeared in her hand. Then Susanu held the hilt of the sword with both hands, turned the sword horizontally, and pointed the sword side in the direction of Yagura. At this time, the tailed beast bomb in Yagura's mouth finally condensed, and the extremely condensed yin and yang chakra made the small ball with an ordinary appearance exude astonishing power. Tailed beast cannon. Then Yagura roared, and the small-tailed beast bomb immediately followed the roar and quickly attacked Chen Hui. When Chen Hui saw this, he couldn't help but look forward to it, staring at the tailed beast bomb as it approached rapidly, ready to go. Just when the tailed beast bomb was about to hit Chen Hui finally made a move. I saw him controlling Susanoo to swing his arms quickly, swinging the sword straight and hitting the tailed beast bomb. Bang! A violent collision sounded, and in the horrified eyes of everyone watching the battle, the tailed beast bomb was directly knocked away by Chen Hui. The tailed beast bomb, which was a disaster to them, turned out to be just a toy in front of Chen Hui. The tailed beast bomb that was knocked away actually flew towards Yagura at a faster speed. Yagura was shocked when he saw this and immediately wanted to avoid it. However, gathering the tailed beast bomb consumed most of his strength. Even with the blessing of the tailed beast chakra, his actions at this time became a little sluggish. In the end, Yagura was unable to escape the scope of the tailed beast bomb. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and smoke suddenly enveloped the area of Yagura. All the fog ninjas looked at Yanshin with concern. After the scene just now, Yagura had become their spiritual support. Once Yagura is defeated and faced with Kamui's unparalleled Chen Hui, they probably won't even be able to think about resisting. The smoke gradually dissipated, revealing a large crater with a diameter of more than 10 meters. And a shadow was lying in the center of the big pit, motionless, not knowing whether it was dead or alive. Bayou home run. Seeing this, Chen Hui couldn't help but whistle lightly. Although he has never played baseball, it does not affect his good mood. Chapter 54. The Mist Ninja looked at the figure nervously. If Yagura died, they really wouldn't know what to do. Fortunately, at this moment, the smoke completely dissipated, and Yagura, wrapped in the tailed beast chakra, was completely revealed. Although Yagura remained motionless, the Kiri ninja breathed a sigh of relief. Since the tailed beast chakra on Yagura has not dissipated, it proves that Yagura still has fighting power at this time. If Yagura dies or falls into a coma, the tailed beast chakra will automatically return to Yagura's body. The fog ninjas still understand this. Chen Hui was not disappointed when he saw this, nor did he expect Yagura to be solved so easily. After all, Yagura is also a Kaga-level strongman, not to mention protected by the tailed beast chakra around him. This small-tailed beast bomb will not cause fatal damage to him. When the fun was over, Chen Hui stopped smiling. He looked calmly at Yagura in the center of the pit in the distance and said, "If that's all you have, then today's battle will only end here. I'm not in the mood to continue playing with you." Hearing this, Yagura in the pit finally made a move, and saw her tremblingly get up from the ground. "You don't underestimate me," Yagura roared. "I am the fourth Mizukage." He's very small, but his voice is quite loud. Chen Hui picked his ears. In his eyes, Yagura was just like a child who could only roar. This matches his appearance very well. You guy. Yagura looked at Chen Hui angrily. Every act of Chen Hui tonight left a deep mark on his proud heart. Chen Hui looked at Yagura proudly and said, "Use all your strength to please me. Otherwise, I will take action to end this farce." As he spoke, Chen Hui controlled Susanoo to swing the blade violently. Boom! After a loud noise, a knife mark that spread dozens of meters suddenly appeared on Chen Hui's right side. Seeing this, all the fog ninjas felt a chill in their hearts, as if Susanoo's sword would come to their heads in the next moment. And when this attack falls on them, at least hundreds of mist ninjas will be unable to escape, let alone resist. Hearing this, Yagura could no longer suppress He was no longer worried that this place was on the edge of the mist ninja village, and immediately contacted the three tails in his body. Yagura shouted in his heart, "Iaso, lend me all your power." Three Tails did not respond. At this time, it had already been controlled by Obito's Mangekyo, and Yagura was indirectly controlled by Obito because of this. However, although Three Tails made no sound, streams of chakra surged crazily into Yagura's body. Yagura was given a hint by Obito, so he didn't care about Three Tails' situation. And with the full blessing of Three Tails, Yagura's true form in the outside world suddenly changed again. The dark red chakra began to spread around, and in a moment, a chakra group was formed that enveloped the surrounding area for tens of meters and was more than 20 meters high. Then the chakra mass slowly turned gray and quickly began to deform, quickly forming a gray turtle with thorns all over its body and three tails. This is the true form of Three Tails. When Chen Hui saw this, he couldn't help but smile. In this case, the game will be much more interesting. At this time, Yagura's extremely strange voice came over. Uchiha Chenhui, I will let you know that attacking the Mist Ninja Village will be the worst decision in your life. Look at my move, Shadow. As he spoke, Yagura transformed into Three Tails, quickly arched his body, wrapped his body with the huge, thick carapace on his back, and rolled forward quickly towards Chen Hui like a wheel. When Chen Hui saw this, he not only did not dodge, but instead controlled Susanoo to slash at Three Tails. Bang! After the huge collision, Chen Hui couldn't help being hit back by the huge impact. On the other hand, it seems that nothing happened to Yagura transformed into Three Tails. Isn't Susan in the second form not powerful enough? Chen Hui narrowed his eyes. Then let's transcend the third and fourth forms and directly enter the complete body. As he spoke, the golden Susanoo changed again, and a pair of legs quickly grew out from under Susanoo. At the same time, Susanoo continued to grow taller, and in a moment she became a complete giant hundreds of meters tall. Then a pair of heavy armor immediately enveloped Susanna, and at the same time, a pair of huge wings spread out from Susanna's back. Everyone watching the battle suddenly became distracted when they saw this. Three Tails' appearance is already tall enough, but now Chen Hui's perfect Susanoo is several times taller than Three Tails. This made everyone present wonder, is this still a battle for ordinary people? In fact, Chen Hui still didn't use all his strength at this time. Susanoo can bear external forces, and at this time Chen Hui has two powers. One is the Immortal Magic Chakra, and the other is the Nine Tails Chakra. With the blessing of these two powers, Susanoo will only become stronger. Yagura, transformed from Three Tails, looked at Susanna, who was now several times taller than him, with fear. At this time, he did not dare to continue using the shadow. He seemed to be unharmed by the collision just now, but that's just because his outer shell was extremely hard after being transformed by Three Tails, but his inside was not so hard. The shock caused by the collision gave him the urge to vomit blood. So facing Susanoo, who seemed to be more powerful at this time, he didn't dare to get close easily. This kind of power is really powerful. Chen Hui clenched his fists excitedly, and Susanoo also clenched her fists at the same time. At this time, Chen Hui's actions can be synchronized with Susanoo's, so now Susanoo can also use ninjutsu. And after entering the complete body, Susanoo's strength directly increased dozens of times. At this time, looking at the short Yagura transformed into Three Tails in the distance, Chen Hui felt that he could break his seemingly hard turtle shell at any time. So Chen Hui waved to Yagura and said, "Come on, let's continue." Seeing this provocative action, Yagura, transformed into Three Tails, couldn't help but roar. But he didn't move at all. After all, he really didn't dare to do the taijutsu at this time. Chen Hui couldn't help but sneer when he saw this and said, "If you don't come, then I will come." With that said, Susanoo quickly flew towards Three Tails, transformed Yagura with her sword in hand, and was in front of him in a moment. Yagura became very anxious upon seeing this, and quickly rolled around in a panic, only to barely avoid Susanoo's sword. But his tail was not so lucky, and Susanoo chopped off 2 of his tails. Grumble! Yagura suddenly screamed. After Three Tails transformed, Three Tails' nerves were connected to his nerves. So Three Tails had its tail cut off, and Yagura also felt a sharp pain coming from the bottom of his spine. Yagura suddenly felt anxious. No, if you continue like this, I will really die. He endured the pain and began to force himself to deal with Chanhui calmly. At this time, the 2 short tails gradually grew out, and Yagura's pain eased slightly. Because tailed beasts are all made of chakra, if you are injured, you can quickly recover by consuming chakra. Yagura thought to himself, I can't stay in the 3 tails state for a long time, and I'm not sure how long Chanhui will use this move, so I can only decide the outcome. Chapter 55. Thinking of this, Yagura suddenly no longer hesitated. While he began to mobilize chakra, he used Shadow again. But this time he used Ingwu not to attack, but to use its speed to quickly get away from Chanhui. Therefore, in just a moment, Yagura transformed from 3 tails had already reached a place 100 meters away from Chanhui. Chanhui watched this scene with interest, but had no intention of pursuing him. After all, he has the presence of God, and it is just a thought that his waist should catch up with the doctor's warehouse. So he wanted to see what tricks Yagura could play. After Yagura rolled to a place 200 to 300 meters away from Chanhui, he saw that Chanhui did not pursue him, so he stopped. At this time, he has also successfully mobilized chakra, so he can deliver a devastating blow at any time. Then Yagura no longer hesitated, and dark purple chakra quickly began to condense on his head. Is it Tail Beast Bomb again? I thought you would have some more interesting abilities. Chanhui was slightly disappointed when he saw this, but he did not underestimate this attack. Chanhui can feel that Yagura's current Tailed Beast Bomb is exactly the attack he launched by condensing all his chakra. Seeing this, Chanhui narrowed his eyes and said, Are you aware of the situation and ready to fight to the death? The deterrence shown is enough, then I will satisfy you. 757. Saying that, Chanhui controlled the complete body of Susanoo and clenched the sword in his hand, and then chakra and pupil power began to gather towards the sword body. The people watching the battle looked at this scene with solemn expressions. They also know that after this blow, the situation of this battle will also be clear. However, Terumi Mei, who has been in contact with Chanhui, knows that the winner of this battle must be Chanhui. Especially after Chanhui used the complete Susanoo, she became even more convinced, so her mood didn't fluctuate much. However, the Fog Ninjas were very worried. Although Yagura was their leader, they also felt that Yagura was likely to lose in this duel. And if Yagura really loses, what will they do? Ordinary Mist Ninjas are still anxiously worried about the situation, but the ghostly Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost has already thought of a way out. He glanced vaguely at Terumi Mei, who looked confident in the distance. Blowfish Ghost believes that Terumi Mei will be the only way for him to successfully escape after once Yagura is defeated. He will not hesitate to express his loyalty to Terumi Mei, and he is extremely confident that Terumi Mei will accept his surrender. After all, he is not only the first generation of the 7 ninja swordsmen and has a high reputation in the Mist Ninja Village, but he also masters most of the secrets of the Mist Ninja Village. If Terumi Mei wants to quickly quell the impact of this rebellion, she must get his help. And if Yagura is killed by Chanhui, then he will be the only person in the Mist Ninja Village besides Terumi Mei who can exert Kaga-level strength, even if it is only for a moment. So at this time, Zigwishin Puffer Ghost didn't have any worries in his heart. He even began to plan how to obtain the greatest power from Terumi Mei after Terumi Mei took power. But, will he really get his wish? If Yagura knew that he had been given up by the Mist Ninjas in his heart at this time, and some even began to plan his future after his death, I wonder what his expression would be like. Just when everyone was thinking about their own thoughts, Yagura prepared the Tailed Beast Bomb with all his strength and finally gathered it. Go to hell! Yagura roared angrily, and then quickly hit the Tailed Beast Bomb. The Tailed Beast Bomb, which was dozens of meters in diameter, suddenly attacked Chanhui in a mighty manner. Along the way, countless tall trees and boulders were crushed by the pressure generated by the Tailed Beast Bomb, forming a huge, deep trench in the ground. With such power, if it falls on the Mist Ninja Village, the entire Mist Ninja Village will be reduced to ashes under this blow. The terrifying power inside it is several times stronger than the large spiral wheelyu that Chen Hui used before. However, even such an attack was still not enough to move Chen Hui's face. He watched quietly as tailed beast bomb quickly approached, his posture with the sword pointing at the ground unchanged. However, when the tailed beast bomb was only 100 meters away from Chen Hui finally moved. I saw him raising the sharp blade in his hand high, and then swung it at the tailed beast bomb. A golden sword energy suddenly shot out from the tip of Chen Hui's sword, and there was an instant sound of the air being slashed. Obviously, the speed of this sword energy has exceeded the speed of sound. So in just a blink of an eye, the sword energy arrived in front of tailed beast bomb. Then the next moment, a face appeared that was jaw-dropping and unforgettable. The golden sword energy actually cut the tailed beast bomb in half. Then the sword energy continued unabated, and he quickly arrived in front of Yagura, who had transformed into three tails. Before Yagura could react, the sword energy instantly split Yagura, who had transformed into three. At this point, although the speed of the sword energy has slowed down, it still has not dissipated. The golden sword energy quickly moved along the edge of the Mist Ninja Village towards the mountains behind. The buildings on the edge of the Mist Ninja Village along the way were completely destroyed in an instant under the pressure of the sword energy. Then the sword energy hit hard halfway up a mountain hundreds of meters high, and then completely disappeared. Everyone was frightened by the power of this blow. Is this still an attack that humans can launch? However, up to this point, the power of this attack has not yet been fully demonstrated. Just when everyone thought everything was over, the mountain peak hit by the golden sword energy was split halfway up the mountainside, and after being split open, the residual energy of the sword energy directly caused the upper half of the peak to explode again. The result of the explosion was that the mountain collapsed, directly burying the entire kilometer of land under the mountain. This power that can rewrite the terrain with a single strike is the real power of Susanoo. At this time, the people watching the battle were already numb in their hearts. Facing this blow, they could not even think of the shock. On the contrary, Chen Hui's heroic appearance will be forever imprinted in their minds. For these people at this moment, Chen Hui is the only god in their hearts, the god who can decide their destiny at will. At this time, there were two more violent explosions, and the battlefield was shaken again. This was exactly the tailed beast bomb that was split into two halves and exploded after landing. However, with the shock of Chen Hui's casual sword blow before, these two explosions no longer attracted everyone's interest. Therefore, let alone Chen Hui, he didn't even look over there, but controlled Susanoo, walking step by step towards the three tails transformed Yagura, who had been split in half. At this time, Yagura, who was transformed into three tails, was also extremely miserable. The tailed beast bomb he just fired consumed most of the chakra of him and three tails. Therefore, facing the injury of being split in half, there is no chakra to help him continue to recover. At this time, Yagura's consciousness had already fallen into a coma due to the severe pain. As consciousness fell into coma, Three Tails' body gradually began to turn into chakra and dissipate. In a moment, Yagura recovered and passed out on the ground. But what the unconscious Yagura didn't know was that Chen Hui was walking towards him step by step. Although Chen Hui did not use the God's Coming, Susanoo could cover this distance quickly with her body size of over 100 meters. So it didn't take long for Yuan Hui to arrive in front of the medical warehouse. Then he grabbed Yagura and Susanoo's hand. Advertisement. Chapter 56. Chen Hui controlled Susanoo to hold Yagura's collar and slowly lift him in front of her. Through Susanoo's head, Chen Hui looked at Yagura, who was still in a coma, with a calm face. With the ability to fully control Three Tails, your strength is enough to stand alone in the ninja world. But it's a pity that you met me today. In my eyes, tailed beasts are just pets that I play with casually. As he said that, Yuan Hui's eyes suddenly turned to Mangekyo. No need to look at each other. The huge pupil power of the eternal eye directly and violently invades Yagura's spiritual world. Then Chen Hui's spirit ran all the way in the spiritual world looking for Three Tails, not caring whether Yagura would become an idiot because of it. So under Chen Hui's arrogant search, he quickly found the location of Three Tails. This is an extremely dark place. Although he has no sense of smell, Chen Hui still feels a foul smell, and Three Tails is chained to a pillar. Is this the sealed space of Three Tails? It's really crude. Chen Hui curled his lips in disdain. Compared to Konoha's seal, the Mist Ninja's seal was simply extremely fragile. It is estimated that the other three ninja villages are also like this, which is why their Jinchūriki often go berserk. But this is not surprising. After all, Konoha has inherited the legacy of the Uzumaki clan. In fact, Toshiro also felt that Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo were responsible for the destruction of the Uzumaki clan. As for the evidence, Danzo has the title of Universal Scapegoat. Funny laugh. As long as there is any unsolved injustice in the ninja world, just blame it on him. It will definitely have nothing to do with him. Coupled with the always strong Danzo and the secretive Sarutobi Hiruzen, the two of them can be called the scapegoating duo in the ninja world. Funny laugh, cough. I'm going too far. Although Three Tails is not unconscious at this time, its eyes are dull, as if it has no thinking ability of its own. And this is exactly the reaction after being controlled by illusion. This guy, how do you think he is so arrogant? Chun-Hui frowned. For him at this time, Three Tails' strength was almost useless. Moreover, the ugly appearance of Three Tails also made Chun-Hui not interested at all. Except for One Tail and Nine Tails, among the nine-tailed beasts, they all seem to be weird things. One Tail is a civet cat, but a bit fat, while Nine Tails is a nine-tails fox, both of. As for the others, the genes have mutated. Chun-Hui shook his head and stopped thinking about these useless things. Then he slowly walked forward, and Three Tails stared blankly at his approach without any reaction. Chun-Hui looked up at Three Tails, and Three Tails subconsciously looked at him. Therefore, Chun-Hui can also see the slightly rotating red Mangekyo in Three Tails' eyes. Chun-Hui said to himself, "Don't worry, when I get what I want, I will help you unlock the control as a reward." Saying that, Chun-Hui started taking action without hesitation. Chun-Hui's Mangekyo began to spin wildly, and then he stretched out his hand to hold Three Tails and slowly pulled it. And as he pulled, a blue energy began to emerge from Three Tails' body. At this time, even the unconscious Three Tails showed a painful and complicated expression. A series of piercing screams began to come out of its mouth, but Chun-Hui still didn't care, secretly estimating the amount of energy needed in his heart. After more and more energy was pulled out, it reached Chun-Hui's expectations. Chun-Hui used his hand as a knife without hesitation and cut off the energy he needed by raising the knife with his hand. Squeak! Three Tails immediately let out a painful scream, and then the excess energy quickly surged into its body. When the energy returns to the body, the tail begins to shrink rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a moment, it has shrunk by more than 1/3 of its size. This is so similar to the origin that Nine Tails gave to Chun-Hui. Therefore, there is no doubt that the energy Chun-Hui just chopped off is the source of more than 1/3 of Three Tails. At this time, Three Tails, who had lost his origin, began to become illusory and solid at other times. When Chun-Hui saw this, he immediately looked at Three Tails with disgust. Compared to Nine Tails, it's really far behind. If I were to get more of the source, would you dissipate immediately? If Three Tails could speak at this time, it would definitely feel aggrieved. Kaido, since you look down on me, don't take my energy. You've already taken it all, but you still want to mock me. I let you take it. You don't recognize people after you've done something, bah. You scumbag. After getting what he needed, Kong Hui was ready to fulfill his promise. I saw Chun-Hui glare at Three Tails, and a powerful eye force suddenly invaded Three Tails' mind, and the illusion of controlling Three Tails was instantly released. After a while, Three Tails' eyes regained their clarity. What's wrong with me? At this time, it only felt a sense of emptiness, as if it would dissipate into heaven and earth in the next moment. And just when Three Tails was looking around in confusion, it finally found Chun-Hui standing in front of it. Looking at the familiar Mangekyo in Chun-Hui's eyes, Three Tails' eyes suddenly widened. Then, it roared angrily, "You! It's the damn Sharingan again." Saying that, Three Tails also twitched its tail directly at Chun-Hui. Looking at Three Tails, who lost his mind again in front of him, Chun-Hui couldn't help but frown. What did Obito do to Three Tails in the illusion world to cause it to have such a violent reaction even just seeing Sharingan? However, Chun-Hui was not prepared to stay here any longer. Three Tails was so ugly that Chun-Hui was not even in the mood to chat with it. So he opened his eyes and directly used Three Tails' hypnosis again. But this time it wasn't control. It just put Three Tails into a deep coma, and he wouldn't be able to wake up for more than 10 days. At the same time, Chun-Hui also briefly told it the news that it was controlled by Obito while in a coma. After doing all this, Chun-Hui withdrew from Yagura's spiritual world without hesitation. Outside, Chun-Hui put away the origin of Three Tails, and then looked thoughtfully at Yagura. who was still unconscious in Susanu's hands. Then Chen Hui made a mark casually, and black runes instantly enveloped Yagura's body. This is exactly the seal restriction that Chen Hui placed on Yagura. Although he doesn't care about Yagura's strength, to others, Yagura is still a Kaga-level powerhouse that is difficult to match. Not to mention that Yagura still has 3 tails inside her body. So to be on the safe side, Chen Hui decided to keep Yagura in a sealed state. After all, Yagura can't die just yet while he hasn't decided where 3 tails will go. After doing all this, Chen Hui held Yagura in Susan's right hand, and controlled Susan to turn around and look at the snow ninja army in the distance. The next moment, the wings behind Susanu flapped slightly, and Chen Hui arrived in front of the mist ninja army. He looked coldly at the ant-like fog ninja at Susanna's feet. Although he didn't speak, the fog ninja below still felt unspeakable pressure. This is a peerless strongman who can split-tailed beast bomb with ease, and his remaining power can cut through mountains. The mist ninjas have no doubt that as long as Susanu swings his sword, they may not even have the courage to resist. Seeing this scene, Terumi Mei's expression in the distance suddenly changed. These mist ninjas are the last living force in the mist ninja village. If Chen Hui strikes down with one sword, then, thinking of this, Terumi Mei rushed over there without hesitation. And, advertisement. Chapter 57. When all the fog ninjas saw Terumi Mei coming, they were moved to tears. Chen Hui was so terrifying that they couldn't think of anything other than shock in front of him. Terumi Mei breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that Chen Hui didn't do anything. She hurriedly said, "Chen Hui, let me handle the rest, right?" But Chen Hui ignored Terumi Mei and still looked coldly at the group of fog ninjas below. Most of the mist ninja lowered their heads under Chen Hui's look. Terumi Mei immediately felt something bad when she saw this, thinking that Chen Hui was going to go on a killing spree. She quickly opened her mouth to persuade, but Chen Hui beat her to it and said, "The 4th Mizukage Yagura is controlled by people with ulterior motives, which has led to the misery of the Mizukage village over the years. Now Yagura has been captured by me, but because of the damage he has caused to the Kiri ninja village over the years, I have decided to abolish Yagura's position as Mizukage. Do you have any opinions?" Most of the mist ninjas immediately lowered their heads when they heard this. After seeing Chen Hui's peerless Kamui, how could they dare to jump out and speak against Chen Hui? Even if Chen Hui was competing for the throne at this time, they didn't dare to complain at all. Seeing this, Terumi Mei quickly responded, "Yagura caused irreparable damage to the Mist Ninja village. Although it was because he was controlled by others, he also has unshirkable responsibility. So naturally, he cannot continue to hold the position of Mizukage." With Terumi Mei, the second master of the Mist Ninja village, giving the steps, the ninjas immediately nodded their heads. Yes, we have no problem with Yagura abdicating." Chen Hui nodded with satisfaction when he saw this. Now it seems that Terumi Mei's steps are very effective. With the leader, many mist ninjas who are afraid of death will naturally use the slope to get down. But there are always some fog ninjas who have their own backbone. Just when all the fog ninjas chose to flatter themselves and surrender, a big man jumped out and shouted angrily, "Even if Yagura is really guilty of an unpardonable crime, it should be decided by the top management of our Mist Ninja village. It won't be your turn to die. Yes, this is the village affairs of our Mist Ninja village." With the big man taking the lead, dozens more people jumped out immediately. When Terumi Mei saw this, she immediately felt something bad. She was afraid that if this big man continued to talk, so she quickly said, "I have discussed with Yuanshi before this, and the Uchiha clan has now joined the Mist Ninja village and become a part of my Mist Ninja village. And Master Yuan has also asked Mr. Chen Hui, honorific term, to join the group of elders, so now Mr. Chen Hui can naturally make a proposal to waive the need for another warehouse." At this time, Master Yuan also led others to arrive here. He quickly agreed. What Terumi Mei said is right. Mr. Chen Hui is already the elder of my Mist Ninja village at this time. As the only person in the Mizukage village who has experienced the establishment of the Mizukage village, Gunsher's prestige in the Mizukage village is higher than that of Mizukage. Therefore, with Master Yuan's nod at this time, the few mist ninjas who had raised objections suddenly became speechless. After all, the most powerful person in the village, Terumi Mei, and the most prestigious person, Master Yuan, have already nodded. So what reason do they have to shoot you? Seeing that the matter had been settled by Terumi Mei and Yuanshi, Chen Hui immediately dismissed Susanu without any concern. As for the new identity that Terumi Mei arranged for him, Chen Hui was not surprised. After all, with the strength he just showed, if Terumi Mei still dares to be hostile to him, then Chen Hui will have to wonder if the Mist Ninja Village is just a bunch of idiots. At this time, Uchiha Feng and others also arrived here. Clan leader, we? One Uchiha Feng stepped forward and called tentatively. Chen Hui nodded and said, "It's done. Just wait." Uchiha Feng nodded, then stepped aside and said nothing. Terumi Mei and Master Yuan looked at each other when they saw this. Seeing that Chen Hui didn't speak, they didn't dare to speak first. The scene suddenly became awkward. At this moment, the fat Shishan pufferfish ghost jumped out. He trotted up to Chen Hui and said flatteringly, "I am the pufferfish ghost of Shigua Mountain. I have met Elder Chen Hui. I am the current Minister Umbu of Mist Ninja Village. I am ashamed to say that I have long sensed that something was wrong with Yagura, but I have always suffered from the lack of evidence. Fortunately, there is Elder Chen Hui. Elder Chen Hui just used Kamui and subdued Yagura. This is a great joy for the Mist Ninja Village." The Ziguishan pufferfish ghost praised Chen Hui. Seeing the actions of Terumi Mei and Yuanshi, he can naturally judge who will be the real decision-maker in Mist Ninja Village in the future. So without saying a word, he surrendered before all the Mist Ninjas could react, preparing to win Chen Hui's favor. Maybe Chen Hui will be happy, and he can continue to be Minister Umbu. However, just as the little calculations in the Ziguishan puffer ghost's mind were making a clap sound, Chen Hui impatiently waved his hand. The Watermelon Mountain pufferfish ghost was stunned when he saw this, but he quickly stopped talking and smiled innocently at Yuan Hui. Seeing this, Chen Hui couldn't help but feel a chill. He really didn't expect that this fat man's lower limit would be so low. Terumi Mei and others also looked at the fat man with disgust, obviously already familiar with his habits. When Chen Hui saw this, he immediately said coldly, "I was looking for you, but you jumped out on your own. That's fine. It saves me wasting my time." The Watermelon Mountain pufferfish ghost was stunned for a moment, and then suddenly felt something bad in his heart. But before he could react, Chen Hui instantly controlled him with Mangekyo. Then Chen Hui said in disgust, "Tell me everything about how you betrayed the information about Mist Ninja Village over the years, and then sold it to neighboring countries." When Terumi Mei and others heard this, they immediately looked at the fat man with incredible eyes. And the fat man also started to talk blankly. "For the mission to the country of Tea, I revealed the itinerary of the team that was going on the mission and the abilities of each team member to Konoha Village. For the Fire Nation mission, I will. Mission to the Kingdom of Rainbow." The fat man began to tell everything about what he had done over the years. He sold information to neighboring countries more than 40 times. At this point, Terumi Mei and others were furious. They thought that fatty just had no lower limit, but they didn't expect that he would do so many things to betray the village. At this time, in the hearts of Terumi Mei and others, Fatty has already been tortured and killed hundreds of millions of times. After Fatty finished speaking, Chen Hui immediately let go of his control. He asked drowsily, "What's wrong with me?" But when he turned around to look, he found that all the Zero Ninjas were looking at him as if they wanted to eat it. When he was confused, Chen Hui's faint voice came over. "Nothing, you are just going to die." "What?" The fat man's pupils shrank when he heard this. But before he could react, he suddenly felt a pain in his neck. After a moment of dizziness, he saw a fat, headless corpse standing not far away. "This seems to be my body." This was the fat man. Chapter 58. The fat man's huge body suddenly fell to the ground, but Chen Hui put the sword back into its sheath with a calm expression, as if he had just chopped a cabbage. He said calmly, "The puffer fish ghost of Shigua Mountain has collaborated with the enemy and betrayed the country, and now I will kill him. Do you have any objections?" Upon hearing this, Terumi Mei stepped forward without hesitation and said, "Elder Chen Hui did the right thing. It would not be a pity for such a person to die 100 times. This time, Terumi Mei spoke her heart sincerely. Even if Chen Hui doesn't take action, she will not hesitate to attack this damn fat man. The other Mist Ninjas nodded in agreement. No matter where you are, traitors are always the most hated beings. Chen Hui didn't say anything when he saw this, but stepped forward and took off the sword Samahata from the fat man's back. Samahata immediately wanted to resist, but Chen Hui directly burst out with power and shocked it instantly. Then he picked up the knife and looked at it carefully and said, "This knife is covered in dust with this trash." As he spoke, Chen Hui threw the knife directly to a strange-looking young man. In the young man's uncertain eyes, Chen Hui said calmly, "I am very optimistic about you. This knife will be yours from now on. Use it well." The young man was suddenly shocked, but he soon came back to his senses, and then he stood the sword on the ground and said in surprise, Kisaki Kisame, thank you, Elder Chunhui. Yes, this person is none other than Hoshigaki Kisame, known as the Tailless Beast in the original work. He was also one of the people that Chunhui admired very much in his previous life. Chunhui's move was to take the dried persimmon Kisame under his command before Obito. After all, Emperor Guy is a being that even the 6th gate cannot deal with, and if he didn't know Emperor Guy's characteristics, the 7th gate wouldn't be able to stop him. Therefore, according to the description in the original work, Kisame Inagaki will be at least a peak Kaga-level existence 8 years later. Therefore, the ambitious Chunhui will naturally not let go of such talents. At this time, Master Yuan stepped forward with a smile and said, since the matter is almost settled, let's not stop at the door. Elder Chunhui, why don't you go in and have a rest first, and then come to you to discuss other issues after we finish dealing with the debris? He stretched out his hand to avoid slapping him in the face, and Master Yuan had a flattering look on his face, so Chunhui would naturally not speak harshly. He nodded and said, that's fine. Then Chunhui took Uchiha Fong and others into the Mist Ninja Village under the enthusiastic leadership of Yuanshi. Then, after arranging a resting place for Chunhui and others, Yuanshi and Terumi Mei quickly began to deal with the subsequent. As for the other Uchiha clan members, they are all staying in the mirror space at this time. Only when the matter in Mist Ninja Village is completely resolved will Chunhui let them come out. And before Master Yuanshi and others left, Chunhui kept the dried persimmon Kisame behind. I can see that you seem very confused now. Chunhui narrowed his eyes and looked at Hoshigaki Kisame opposite. There were only 2 of them here at this time. Kisame Kisaki didn't answer Chunhui's question. After a moment of silence, Gensaki Kisame asked, I wonder what Elder Chunhui ordered for leaving me here? Chunhui smiled and asked, it seems that you don't want to think about your past experiences. Hoshigaki Kisame stopped talking again, acquiescing to Chunhui's question. Seeing this, Chunhui continued to talk to himself. If it weren't for this sudden war today, I think it won't be long before you kill that damn fat man yourself, right? As soon as he said this, Gensaki Kisame looked at Chunhui in shock. He suddenly felt like he had been completely seen through by Chunhui. Chunhui continued, what you are performing under that fat man is, during the mission, kill the comrades in the mission team who may be captured by the enemy, in order to keep the secrets of the Mist Ninja Village. Obviously it is to protect the Mist Ninja Village, but this protection is based on the slaughter of one's own compatriots. And due to performing this kind of mission for a long time, you now have some confusion about who you are and who you are fighting for. So, you are very confused now and think the world is false. False companions, false village, false self. Chunhui's words immediately brought back Hoshigaki Kisame's memories of the past. He suddenly remembered the girl who told him that your life must be very difficult before she was killed by him a few months ago. Somehow, he felt a sudden pain in his heart. He murmured, as a Mist Ninja, but you want to kill the same Mist Ninja compatriots, then who exactly am I? Is it an enemy or a friend? What is my purpose? What is my position? Where am I going? Where can I find true peace? Chunhui said, no matter where you go, you will never find true peace. Because all this comes from war, and war comes from the greed in the human heart. As long as the ninja world remains as it is now, this kind of thing cannot be prevented. So, if you want to completely put an end to this kind of thing, then join me in changing the world first. Change the world? Chisaki Kisame murmured, looking up at Chunhui in confusion. That's right. The current ninja world is too chaotic. Countries are plotting against other countries openly or covertly for their own interests. This then led to war, and then all kinds of tragedies. So in order to end this situation, someone must use absolute strength to unify the ninja world. Because only in this way can benefits be reunified and distributed. So, are you willing to be my companion and help me complete this feat together? Chunhui looked at Kisame intently. Unify the ninja world? Kisame Kisaki's eyes gradually widened, and a smile unconsciously appeared on his lips. This thing seemed to have magic power, giving him the urge to try his best to complete it. So, after being stunned for a moment, Tadaki Kisame nodded heavily. After a busy night, Terumi Mei and Master Yuan finally came to Chunhui. The 3 of them sat around a table, Yuanshi said. Due to the shadow of Yagura's tyranny before 620, the mood of the villagers quickly stabilized. They also accepted the Uchiha clan settlement in the Mist Ninja Village. Terumi Mei took over the conversation and said, the Onodin clan is the second Mizuki's own clan, So the clan's geographical location in Kiri Ninja Village is very advantageous, right in the center of the village. 3 years ago, the Onodin clan attempted to rebel against Yagura, but in the end the entire clan was wiped out. However, their clan land has been preserved and has never been inhabited, so you can live in it directly with your clan members. If you don't like using old objects, we can immediately help you rebuild them on the spot according to your wishes. Chen-Hui nodded, very satisfied with the results given by the two. He said, I don't like to use things that other people have used, so just push all the buildings to rebuild. Okay, I'll make arrangements later. Terumi Mei nodded. Chen-Hui nodded and said, now that we've finished talking about the chores, let's talk formally. Fifth Mizukage, etc. In Chen-Hui's astonished eyes, Terumi Mei said first, I think you should be the fifth Mizukage. That's right. Master Yuan also nodded firmly at this time. After tonight's battle, this position belongs to you. Looking at the two people with serious and determined faces, Chen-Hui suddenly smiled. Things suddenly became interesting. Advertisement. Chapter 59. Are you two serious? You want me to be the fifth Mizukage? Chen-Hui looked at the two of them with interest. Yuanshi and Terumi Mei nodded seriously at the same time. Terumi Mei said, after last night's battle, the fog ninjas are already very afraid of your heaven-defying strength, and the villagers of Mist Ninja Village, under Yagura's high-pressure policies, have long been numb to many things. So there will be no obstacles for you to become the fifth Mizukage. And because of the power you showed last night, when you take over, those fog ninjas will definitely not disobey your opinions. Once there is correct policy guidance, Mist Ninja Village may regain hope and surpass its heyday. It is not impossible. Chen-Hui laughed immediately when he heard this and said, do you think I will implement the right policies when I become Mizukage? Terumi Mei nodded and said, as long as you need the power of Mist Ninja Village, you will definitely do it. As soon as these words came out, the room immediately fell silent. After a long time, Chen-Hui grinned and said, I am really touched by your unreserved trust. Although he said this, Chen-Hui's face did not look moved at all, but instead looked thoughtful. Terumi Mei seemed to be moved by what she just said, and she immediately continued to speak while the iron was hot. With you at the forefront, my current prestige cannot suppress those mist ninjas. So even if I get the upper hand, those mist ninjas won't take me seriously. They will think you are secretly controlling me. As a result, these mist ninjas' sense of belonging to the Mist Ninja Village will definitely be greatly reduced. Although they are afraid of your strength and dare not do or say anything, their ability to perform tasks will definitely be greatly reduced. So you might as well stand in front of the stage and use this momentum to vigorously reform, so as to mobilize the enthusiasm of the fog ninjas to the greatest extent possible. Hearing this, Chen-Hui suddenly felt a little moved. Originally, he put Terumi Mei in the position just to better control the Sono Ninja Village. As a result, the power he showed last night was too strong, and those fog ninjas were not very strong-willed beings. So there was an inexplicable loophole in Chen-Hui's plan. These fog ninjas may be very obedient to Chen-Hui's words because of what happened last night, but Terumi Mei's prestige has been greatly damaged. Now that she is in power, she may not be able to control those fog ninjas at all. If something slightly troublesome happens and Terumi Mei can't control the situation, he might have to come out to support her. By that time, it will be basically the same as Chen-Hui standing in front of the stage. So it is better for Chen-Hui to stand in front of the stage now, which will make it easier for the Mist Ninja to accept it, and it will also be easier to control. Thinking of this, Chen-Hui's expression suddenly became serious. He said solemnly, I can be the fifth Mizukage, but I am used to being a dictator. So after I become a Mizukage, I can only have my own voice in the entire Garden Ninja Village. If others are disobedient, there will only be one end, die. Terumi Mei and Master Yuan looked at each other and said, we have had this realization a long time ago. Terumi Mei also jokingly said, and based on your strength, even if you were just an ordinary person, unless that person is seeking death, who would dare to disobey your decision? As soon as these words came out, the three of them looked at each other and suddenly burst into laughter. After laughing, the room suddenly became quiet again. Chen-Hui said slowly, in that case, I will accept the position of Mizukage. Terumi Mei and Master Yuan were overjoyed when they heard this. In fact, after seeing Chen-Hui perform the complete Susanoo, Terumi Mei and Master Yuan began to renegotiate matters related to Chen-Hui. In the end, the two decided that Chen-Hui would serve as the fifth Mizukage. Because Chan Hui's control of Mizukage village has become a certainty. As for who will take the position of Mizukage, it is actually not that important. Their cooperation with Chan Hui is actually Chan Hui's unilateral order to Mist Ninja Village. Once there is anything in Mist Ninja Village that doesn't suit Chan Hui's liking, it might be struck by thunder. But if they dedicate the position of Mizukage to Chan Hui at this time, it may give Chan Hui a sense of belonging to the Mizukage village. The relationship between them will therefore become a subordinate relationship, so Chan Hui will also consider the Mist Ninja Village a little before doing anything. And when the Mist Ninja Village is in danger, Chan Hui can become the Mist Ninja Village's last resort. Therefore, the operation of Terumi Mei seems to be free, but in fact they are planning for the future. Then I will issue my first order now. Chan Hui looked at the two of them. Terumi Mei and Yuanshi immediately stood ready. They knew that this was Chan Hui's first test for them. Chan Hui said slowly, I intend to unify the ninja world, so both the ninja village and the country must be unified. Now I am the only voice in the Mist Ninja Village. I feel that the Water Kingdom can only have my voice. I think you know what I mean. When Terumi Mei and Master Yuan heard this, they swallowed subconsciously. They instantly understood what Chan Hui meant, but in the end, the two of them nodded firmly. Late at night, several black shadows flashed over a mansion in an instant. One guard felt something, so he hurriedly pushed the other. Asked, Hey, did you see anything go by? The second guard said impatiently, How can there be anything in the middle of the night? And this is the Daimyo-sama's mansion. There are many dangers inside. Who dares to break in? The guard who spoke first suddenly scratched his head in embarrassment. However, at this moment, the two guards suddenly felt pain in their necks. The next moment, the two of them groaned and fell into a pool of blood. Then, two black figures flashed again in the shadows, heading into the mansion. At the same moment, there were more than a dozen black figures acting together. Tuck, tuck. Inside the mansion, the sound of an object falling to the ground can be heard every short period of time. Soon after, a dozen men in black gathered in front of a room. Who is this person? How dare you act so recklessly in Daming Mansion? At this time, an angry shout suddenly spread throughout the entire mansion. Following this angry shout, 40 or 50 figures in different clothes suddenly stopped in front of the people in black. But at this time, the secret guards and guards had been eliminated by the people in black, and the only ones in the mansion who were awakened were the couple in the room. They are also the targets of this group of men in black tonight. Do it! The leading man in black shouted in a low voice. Those who were blocking the road immediately stood up and prepared themselves after hearing Chin's words, but found that the men in black did not make the slightest move. Just when they were wondering, they suddenly felt a pain in their hearts. They lowered their heads, only to find that their hearts had been pierced by a sharp blade, and the attacker was their extremely trusted colleague. Half of these people blocking the way are actually agents of the men in black. The final obstacle was lifted, and the group of men in black suddenly broke into the room without any scruples. When these people entered the room, what they saw was a man kneeling on the ground, and next to him there was a woman lying in a pool of blood. This person is the name of the Kingdom of Water, and the one who is dead next to him is his wife. Who are you? The daimyo of the Kingdom of Water suppressed his fear and asked, pretending to be calm. The leading man in black did not speak. She waved her hand, and a man in black behind her immediately walked towards the daimyo. Upon seeing this, the daimyo immediately raised his head in confusion and looked at the man in black who was gradually approaching. But what greeted him was... Chapter 60. The matter had been resolved, and the leading man in black walked out of the room with most of the people. Then, the leading man in black grabbed the mask, and she turned out to be Terumi Mei. Terumi Mei turned around and said, Mr. Yukihamine, I will go back to Kiri Ninja Village to report the progress to Mizukage. The precautions here are left to you. Uchiha Mine also grabbed his mask. He was the one who used Sharingan to control the daimyo of the Land of Water just now. He nodded and said, Don't worry, there won't be any problems if you have me here. Terumi Mei also nodded after hearing this. Sharingan's illusion ability is famous in the ninja world, so she is not worried about the daimyo getting rid of his control. Then, Terumi Mei waved and immediately led the three people towards the direction of Mist Ninja Village. Yukihamine turned to look at the nearly 40 men left by Terumi Mei. He waved his hand and said, Everyone should return to their original positions. The next morning, the Daming Mansion of the Land of Water issued a notice to the whole country. Last night, a group of ninjas of unknown origin attacked Daming Mansion. Fortunately, The guards were alert and repelled the group of ninjas. But the daimyo's wife unfortunately died in the battle. Daming Mansion said, "This matter will be investigated strictly, even if it starts a war." In the ninja world, the relationship between daimyo and ninja village is like an employment relationship. The daimyo was in charge of the country's finances and people's livelihood, while the domestic ninjas were responsible for foreign expeditions and protecting the country. For 13, this is the unspoken rule that has been passed down in the ninja world for thousands of years. Especially after the establishment of the ninja village system, the relationship between daimyo and ninja village became clearer. And now that the status of the daimyo has been significantly improved, one sentence can determine the fate of ordinary people in the country and can even sanction the economy of ninja village. Tsunade in the current ninja world is a living example. Because the daimyos of the Land of Wind have cut their funding, the Sand Shinobi can only tighten their belts. Even only elite education can be provided, and the number of ninjas has been greatly reduced. Therefore, Chunhui is now both a Mizukage and a daimyo. It can be said that he has completely controlled the entire Water Kingdom. Inside the Mist Ninja Village, after nearly a day of galloping, Terumi Mei finally arrived back at Mist Ninja Village. The first thing she did when she returned to the village was to go to Mizukage's office to meet Chunhui. Now the daimyo has been controlled by Uchiha Peak, and I have also controlled all the... And they have arranged guards who are absolutely loyal to the Mist Ninja Village around them. As long as they have something wrong, we can quickly know and correct it. Terumi Mei told her arrangements one by one. Finally, he added, "By the way, I met the construction team when I came here. They said that Uchiha's mansion will be completed in 3 days." After she finished speaking, Bienhui nodded in praise. "It's very well done. I'm very satisfied." Terumi Mei suddenly breathed a sigh of relief, just past this first test. At this time, more than 10 days have passed since the battle that night. The Mizukage village has been completely stabilized, and all the Mizukage people know that Chunhui will soon become the 5th Mizukage. And tomorrow is the day that Chunhui takes over as Mizukage. In response to this news, the resistance among the ninjas was not as high as Chunhui imagined. On the contrary, many Mist ninjas were very happy. After all, Chunhui's Kamui has already been deeply imprinted in their hearts. Such a living myth of the ninja world has become the Mizukage of Kiri Ninja Village. Then Kiri Ninja Village will also become one of the best in the ninja world. No, the most powerful ninja village. This is exactly what most fog ninjas think. The Mist ninjas' emotions have also infected some villagers, so even though it has only been 10 days, the Fu Ninja Village has already regained a lot of its vitality. This immediately made Master Yuan smile from ear to ear, thinking that choosing Chunhui to be the Mizukage was simply his wisest decision. "Terumi Mei!" Chunhui suddenly shouted. When Terumi Mei heard this, she immediately straightened her body nervously and began to concentrate and prepare to listen to Kong Jianwei's next instruction. Looking at the man in front of him who looked like a formidable enemy, Chunhui suddenly laughed. "Do I look that scary?" Terumi Mei suddenly felt a little embarrassed. She was indeed too nervous. After all, the first task Chunhui gave her was to control the entire upper echelon of the Kingdom of Water. Only then was Terumi Mei called out by Chunhui, and she immediately felt like she was facing a formidable enemy, ADC. Chunhui shook his head and did not dwell on this topic. He asked, "Since you have completed this task so well, which department do you plan to work in the Mist Ninja Village in the future?" Terumi Mei was a little stunned. She didn't expect that Chunhui's test would be this one, but she soon came to her senses and she quickly said, "It's up to Master Mizukage, as long as I can contribute to the Mist Ninja Village." Chunhui nodded, and then suddenly said jokingly, "Then you go and guard the gate of Shirin Village. With a Kaga-level expert like you, I believe that the defense capabilities of Mist Ninja Village will be able to reach a higher level." Terumi Mei was really dumbfounded this time. She couldn't help but worry and thought, could it be that Chunhui is afraid that my gaining power will be detrimental to him, so he is planning to suppress me now so that I will lose my prestige? Thinking of this, Terumi Mei suddenly became unwilling. As long as a Chunin can guard the gate of the Mist Ninja Village, it is simply a humiliation for her, a Kaga-level expert, to be assigned to guard the gate. But when she thought of Chunhui's invincible strength, Terumi Mei couldn't resist. So she said dejectedly, "Just let Mizukage-sama arrange it." Ha 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 ha. Unexpectedly, as soon as she said this, Chunhui burst out laughing. "You are also a Kaga-level expert after all, and your ability to handle affairs is so impressive. I ask you to guard the gate. Are you really prepared to guard the gate?" At this time, Terumi Mei still didn't know that Chunhui was completely teasing her just now. Seeing the shame and irritation on Terumi Mei's face, Chunhui immediately shook his head and said, "Okay, I won't tease you anymore. I happen to have a vacancy here, and I think you're a perfect fit. How about you come here and be my secretary?" Secretary? Terumi Mei was confused. Chunhui smiled and explained, "In your words, he is a staff officer. You want me to be your advisor?" Terumi Mei's eyes suddenly widened. As the think tank of the shadow, the staff officer can not only access most of the secrets in the village, but can also temporarily use part of the shadow's power when the shadow is not around. Terumi Mei never expected that Chunhui would be so relieved of her and give her such an important position. She couldn't help but ask, "Aren't you afraid that I will reveal your secret?" Chunhui heard this and asked, "Will you reveal the secrets of Miss Ninja Village? Furthermore, do you think that with my strength, there will be any threat if secrets are leaked? Besides, you gave me the position of Mizukage. If you leak the secrets of Lu Ninja Village, I won't feel anything at all now." Terumi Mei was speechless. The question she just asked was so idiotic. Chunhui said impatiently, "In a word, do you want to do it or not?" F***K. Terumi Mei nodded immediately without hesitation. When Chunhui saw this, he immediately smiled with satisfaction and asked Terumi Mei to be his advisor. In fact, he also had his own plan. Advertisement. Chapter 61. Terumi Mei, as the original 5th Mizukage, is certainly capable. And based on the strength she showed during the 4th war, 8 years later she will be at least as high as Kisame and a peak Kaga level. Therefore, Chunhui would naturally not let go of such a talented person with both strength and ability. And now that Chunhui has become 5th Mizukage, he has reached an agreement with Terumi Mei on the most basic interests. As long as Chunhui doesn't do something crazy that destroys the Mist Ninja Village, coupled with his absolute strength, Terumi Mei cannot and does not have the guts to resist him. And Chunhui did all this in order to control the power of Mist Ninja Village. So while the Mist Ninja Village is docile, he doesn't mind promoting the development of the Mist Ninja Village and making it stronger. Under such circumstances, he would naturally not do anything like destroying the Mist Ninja Village and cutting off his own arm. Chunhui said to Terumi Mei with a smile, "Since you have become my little secretary, consultant, then I will simply assign you a task. From now on, I will decide the direction of the policies and trends of the Mist Ninja Village and the Kingdom of Water, and you will formulate and implement those processes. During this period, I will not interfere with the process. I just want to get the result I want. Understand?" Terumi Mei nodded blankly, still immersed in the sudden joy. But she soon came to her senses and realized an extremely serious problem. Chunhui's 2 simple words actually wanted to hand over most of the power of the Kingdom of Water to her. If Chunhui does this, isn't he afraid that I will have some bad thoughts? Terumi Mei couldn't help but want to ask questions. But soon, Terumi Mei noticed Chun Fan's indifferent expression. Suddenly, she had some insights. Chunhui doesn't care what they think, because the entire Mist Ninja Village can be destroyed with a wave of his hand. As long as Terumi Mei and the others disobey, Chunhuida can directly destroy them, and they have no ability to resist at all. This is Chunhui's confidence, invincible strength. Thinking of this, Terumi Mei couldn't help but smile bitterly and said to herself, "Those of us are still thinking about fighting for power and gain, but we don't know that Chunhui has already seen through the nature of the ninja world. In the ninja world, his strength is his power." Terumi Mei can imagine that one day, she really wants to lead the. As soon as the Mist Ninja sees that the enemy is Chunhui, most people will definitely turn around and point their blades at her immediately. Because everyone is afraid of death, the next day, there was a huge crowd of people in front of Mizukage Building, and all the villagers gathered in the square in front of Mizukage Building. Today is the day that Chunhui officially takes over as 5th Mizukage. In the eyes of all the villagers, who were either indifferent, numb, or full of hope, Chunhui slowly walked to the stage, followed closely by Terumi Mei and Yuan Shi. At this time, Master Yuan, who was the most virtuous and respected member of Mist Ninja Village, took the lead to step forward. He shouted, "The 4th Mizukage Yagura is controlled by thieves, which has led to the depression of my Mizukage village in these years." Fortunately, at this time, Uchiha Chinwei led the Uchiha clan to join the Mist Ninja Village and successfully captured Yagura, preventing the Mist Ninja Village from further decline. Nowadays, the talent of our Mist Ninja Village is withering, and our strength is not as good as before. Therefore, the Mist Ninja Village must develop rapidly in order to better protect the Kingdom of Water. And Uchiha Chinwei is not only powerful, but after that night's battle, he has been recognized by all the One Nin. So after discussion among the elders, we decided to let Uchiha Chinhui serve as the 5th Mizukage. After saying that, Master Yuan immediately retreated, leaving the stage to Chen Hui. Chen Hui took a few steps forward and said, "From today on, I, Uchiha Chen Hui, am the 5th Mizukage of Mist Ninja Village. I will make the Mist Ninja Village the strongest ninja village in the ninja world, and the country of water the happiest country in the ninja world." Oh, 2 short sentences, but they immediately set off the whole audience. No matter what the villagers' mentality is, Chen Hui has become the signature of Mist Ninja Village. So at this moment, the villagers were still excited and cheered loudly. Among them, the Uchiha clan members are the most excited. They can foresee that Uchiha will rise from here. When the cheers subsided slightly, Shinpai waved his hand and walked off the platform. No matter how much he says, it is all false. Only when these villagers can feel the benefits themselves will the villagers respect him from the bottom of their hearts. After the matter of succeeding Mizukage was over, Chen Hui came to a secret room in the Mist Ninja Village alone. Terumi Mei and Yuan sure still have to deal with some chores, and it will be at least 10.5 days before Mist Ninja Village can truly get back on track. Only then will Chen Hui begin to implement big moves. During this period, Chen Hui was ready to digest the harvest and resolve the 3 Tails incident. 0. Please give me flowers. 0. In the secret room, Chen Hui took out the scroll that sealed the. After placing the origin in his palm, Chen Hui immediately said in his mind, "System, integrate the origin of 3 Tails into my body." Detected the origin of 3 Tails, started fusion with host. The origin of 3 Tails began to enter Chen Hui's body along his arm. The next moment, Chen Hui felt a warmth flow through his body. The chakra in Chen Hui's body also began to increase under this warmth. But since Chen Hui's chakra is no less than the complete 3 Tails, this fusion does not require a year's buffering time like the original 9 Tails. Just 2 hours later, Yuan Hui completely devoured the origin of 3 Tails. And since the complete 3 Tails is only at the peak of Kaga level, these sources will only slightly improve Chen Hui. However, at this time, Chen Hui's own chakra happened to be at its peak Kaga level. So after merging the origins of 3 Tails, Chen Hui's chakra finally met the conditions for a breakthrough. It has been detected that the host's chakra has reached a bottleneck. Is there a breakthrough? Breakthrough? Chen Hui nodded excitedly. As soon as he finished speaking, a familiar feeling was generated in his body. When this feeling disappeared, Chen Hui's chakra finally reached the early stage of Super Shadow. However, at this moment, the system prompted again. It has been detected that the host chakra has reached a Super Kaga level, which can unlock the seal and completely integrate the origin of 9 Tails. Is it integrated? I didn't expect there would be an unexpected harvest. Chen Hui was a little surprised, but it was a good thing after all, and he immediately nodded in agreement. Then the special feeling appeared again, which directly caused Chen Hui's chakra to improve again based on the initial stage of Super Shadow. By the time the fusion was completed, nearly 10 hours had passed. At this time, the properties of the morning room have also undergone earth-shaking changes. Host: Uchiha age, 13 years old. Blood succession limit, Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Primary Sage Body, Ice Release, from the origin of 3 Tails, Ninjutsu. Sage Mode, Rasengan Series, Fire Style Series, Uchiha Style Swordsmanship, S. Chakra, Super Shadow Mid-Stage, Self, Jonin Late Stage, Senjutsu Chakra, Ashura Chakra, 6 Paths, Sealed State. 10 Tails Chakra, remaining 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Tails, Combat Strength Evaluation, Super Shadow Late Stage. Towel. Advertisement. Chapter 62. The biggest change in the attribute bar this time is the addition of 10 Tails Chakra. To be precise, the chakras of 1 Tail and 9 Tails merged into the incomplete 10 Tails Chakra. This is the benefit of the previous system. As long as Chen Hui can collect the chakra of the 9-tailed beasts and then merge them into himself, his own chakra can directly reach the 6 paths level. At this time, Chen Hui couldn't help but have wild thoughts. When I get the Indra chakra from Sasuke, I can merge it with the Ashura chakra in my body. This will be another complete 6 paths level chakra, plus the Senju chakra and the 10 Tails chakra. If I fuse these 3 types of chakra, wouldn't I be able to completely crush anyone in the same realm? Even if Sage of 6 Paths is resurrected and his level is the same, I won't be afraid at all, and I can even beat him directly. Thinking of this, Chen Hui couldn't help but get excited. Therefore, he quietly added a branch line to himself under the ideal of unifying the ninja world. gathering the origins of the nine-tailed beasts. Then, now that the three tails chakra has been fused, Qianhui checked the status of the Ashura chakra in his body. Due to Qianhui's increased strength, the time required to fuse the Ashura chakra has also been greatly shortened, from the first 6 years to the current 5 years. Seeing this, Qianhui touched his chin thoughtfully. According to the current growth rate of his strength, it is estimated that he will be able to fully integrate Ashura's chakra in 3 to 4 years. At that time, when the original plot begins, he can also start to obtain the Indra chakra in Sasuke's body. And by then, the plan to unify the ninja world can officially begin. By the time the integration of Three Tails chakra and subsequent matters were completed, it was already the next morning. Qianhui left the secret room, and after simply finishing his meal, he came to another heavily guarded cave. Mizukage-sama. When the guard guarding this place saw Qianhui arriving, he immediately stepped forward and saluted respectfully to say hello. Qianhui nodded lightly and asked, "How is the situation inside?" The guard replied respectfully, "Everything is normal. Fourth generation is still in a coma." Qianhui nodded again when he heard this, and then walked into the cave. He came here this time to completely solve the 2 problems of the hospital and Three Tails. Soon, Qianhui saw Yagura, who was tied up with iron chains. The mist ninjas guarding this place were very careful. Even if Yagura fell under Qianhui's illusion, they still took secondary precautions. Looking at the extremely miserable Yagura in front of him, after all, winners and losers, if he had lost that battle, he would also end up like this. As for whether Qianhui will let Yagura go, the answer is of course no. After all, Yagura is also the former 4th Mizukage. Leaving him behind will only cause trouble for Qianhui. As for controlling Yagura and getting his power, Qianhui said he was not interested. After all, most of Yagura's strength comes from Three Tails, and Qianhui, who can control Three Tails, can change into a Jinchūriki at any time. So Yagura is basically dispensable to Qianhui. Without dispelling Yagura's illusion, Qianhui still used his eye power to violently invade Yagura's spiritual world. Then, he came to the sealed space of Three Tails again. Qianhui casually untied the illusion he had cast on Three Tails, and Three Tails soon woke up. Qianhui said calmly, "Three Tails, we meet again. It's you." When Three Tails saw Qianhui, their pupils shrank immediately. But this time it didn't dare to continue to act recklessly, because the illusion that Qianhui cast on it not only told it what happened during this period, but also caused it to suffer a lot. "I think you already know the secrets in the illusion world, right?" Qianhui said. Three Tails was silent and did not answer. It looked at Qianhui with some fear, guessing Yuan Hui's intention of coming this time. Qianhui continued talking to himself. "Actually, I'm not interested in you. But in order to prevent accidents, it is easiest to control you before many things are over. But don't worry, when my plan is completed, I will naturally let you go free." Three Tails immediately felt bad when he heard this and shouted angrily, "What do you want to do?" Qianhui said calmly, "I'm not going to do anything. I'm just keeping you in captivity for easy control." After saying this, Qianhui ignored Three Tails' roars. He in the spiritual world began to form seals quickly, and at the same time, his body in the outside world also began to form seals. Then, Qianhui's body hit Yagura in the stomach. Seal release. After saying that, Kong Hui from the outside world began to pull away from the belly of life. As he pulled, a stream of red chakra began to be pulled out of Yagura's belly. Then Qianhui quickly took out the container he had prepared in advance and directly sealed the pulled-out Three Tails. It was not until more than 10 minutes later that the last trace of Three Tails chakra was sealed into the container by Qianhui. After doing all this, Yagura, who was separated from Three Tails, was already dying. But at this time, he still has not released the illusion, which shows the power of the Eternal Eye. Seeing this, Qianhui ignored him and turned around and walked outside. Being separated from Three Tails, Yagura's life has come to an end. Death is only a matter of minutes, and he is too lazy to take action in advance. Sure enough, as soon as Qianhui reached the entrance of the cave, he felt that Yagura's last breath had disappeared inside the cave. So as Qianhui walked, he said to the guard on the side, "Yagura is dead. Your mission is completed. Go back and rest." With that said, he strode away from here. After returning to his residence, Qianhui stared blankly at the container with Three Tails sealed on the table. He was thinking about what to do with Three Tails. After all, if you just leave it alone and don't use it, it would be too much of a waste of natural resources. In fact, the best way is to erase the consciousness of Three Tails and then completely devour its origin. But the system reminded Chen Hui that the nine-tailed beasts are inseparable from the six paths of the Pure Land. Once one of the tailed beasts completely disappears from the ninja world, the six paths of Pure Land will immediately sense it. And when Chen Hui's strength has not broken through to the six paths level, facing the Sage of Six Paths directly will be very detrimental to him. So to be on the safe side, Chen Hui only obtained part of the origin of three tails before. Nine-tailed beasts, 10 tails, sacred tree, chakra, Rinnegan, Sharingan 17. Chen Hui murmured to himself, but suddenly he had an idea. Tailed beast chakra and Sharingan? 5.3 Chen Hui murmured. The Otsutsuki clan was actually just Byakugan at the beginning, and the Rinnegan and even the Sage Body were all acquired after eating the fruit of the sacred tree. Then the tailed beast chakra, which is inseparable from the sacred tree, can promote the evolution of various blood inheritance limits such as Sharingan and even Sage Body. Thinking of this, Chen Hui couldn't wait to experiment. The first thing he thought of was his lovely sister Uchiha Izumi. Izumi has now activated 3 Tomo Sharingan, and after being taught by Chen Hui, his own strength is comparable to that of Jonin. If the tailed beast chakra is really useful to Sharingan, then Uchiha Izumi's strength will definitely be greatly improved. Thinking of this, the corners of Chen Hui's mouth unconsciously raised slightly. It just so happens that this girl has always wanted to improve her strength and help me, so let her try it. Anyway, with me watching over her, she will get some benefits no matter what. Advertisement. Chapter 63. In a dense forest, a girl was trying hard to wave the sword in her hand. Sweat kept dripping from her brows, but she ignored it. Even though she was almost exhausted at the moment, she still didn't stop what she was doing. But at this moment, whoosh whoosh, the sound of several sharp blades cutting through the air suddenly sounded. The girl was startled, then quickly turned around, only to find a shuriken attacking her at an extremely tricky angle. But the girl did not panic. Instead, she waved the sword in her hand and drew several strange trajectories. Dang, dang, dang. 3 crisp collision sounds were heard, and it was obvious that the 3 shurikens had been intercepted by the girl. At this moment, a voice of praise suddenly sounded. Not bad, not bad. The trajectory of the shuriken I just threw is difficult for even Jonin to avoid. It seems that you have been practicing swordsmanship very hard during this period. Initially, the girl was still wary, but after hearing this familiar voice, she immediately shouted excitedly. Brother Chen Hui? Yes, this girl is Uchiha Izumi, and the one who tested her was Chen Hui, who had just arrived in 03. Afterwards, Uchiha Quan excitedly ran up to Chen Hui and hugged him. She and Chen Hui grew up together, and their relationship has already reached the point of discussing marriage. And her mother, Uchiha Yeyue, is also very supportive of this. After all, she has seen Chen Hui since she was a child. Chen Hui also touched Quan's little head lovingly, but found that Quan's head was covered with sweat. He immediately frowned and asked accusingly, You girl, you are practicing too much again. Tell me, how long have you been practicing this time? Uchiha Izumi chuckled and said, It won't take long, only 4 or 5 hours. Chen Hui sighed immediately after hearing this and said, How many times have I told you that ninja technique only requires 2 hours of practice every day? Even if you increase the time for practice, the effect will be minimal. Uchiha Quan pouted when he heard this. I want to improve my strength as soon as possible, and then help brother Chen Hui. When Chen Hui saw this, he shook his head in amusement, but he was quite moved in his heart. However, he still does not recommend Uchiha Izumi to continue practicing like this, because Uchiha swordsmanship is a type of ninjutsu. Especially after Chen Hui upgraded it to S level, it has become a swordsmanship no less than Cloud Shinobi Village Nintaijutsu. Moreover, this sword technique can encompass all things, and chakra of any attribute has a unique way of practicing it. The lightness of wind, the violence of fire, the swiftness of thunder, the gentleness of water, and the thickness of earth. What Uchiha Quan is practicing at this time. When practicing ninjutsu, special methods are used to mobilize chakra to activate cells in the body. 2 hours is the optimal activation time for cells. If activation continues after this period, it will be difficult to achieve any effect and will only consume energy in vain. But in order to improve his strength as quickly as possible, Uchiha Quan extended the time of practicing swordsmanship, although the effect was minimal. So when Chen Hui guessed that he could use 3 Tails chakra to improve his strength, he first thought of this little girl. She worked really hard for Chen Hui. Chen Hui gently wiped the sweat from Quan's face. Then he said gently, You don't have to work so hard in the future. I have thought of a way to help you quickly improve your strength. Really? Quan's eyes suddenly lit up. Of course it's true. Chun-Hui touched Quan's little head. Come with me. Then, Chun-Hui took Quan's little hand and used Shanlin to bring Quan to his room in an instant. Come on, do it first and we'll start right away. Chun-Hui pulled Quan to sit at the table, and Quan also saw the unique container on the table at a glance. This is? Quan asked doubtfully. Chun-Hui smiled and explained. There are 3 tails sealed inside. It is something that can help you improve your strength. Izumi asked, Are you going to let me become 3 Tails Jinchūriki? She has no resistance, because becoming 3 Tails Jinchūriki can indeed quickly improve her strength, so that she can help Chan-Hui earlier. Chun-Hui shook his head. That's just an external force and wow, I don't want to seal a monster inside your body. The method I'm talking about is to pump the chakra of 3 tails into your body little by little. Then you use your own chakra to refine it, so that you can quickly increase your strength. When Uchiha Quan heard this, his eyes suddenly lit up. This is indeed a good idea. She immediately said impatiently, Then let's start now. Chen-Hui nodded, and then quickly pinched a few seals. Open. As soon as he said this, the container with the chairman sealed on the table suddenly began to reveal traces of red chakra. Then, Chun-Hui controlled these threads to extend towards Uchiha Spring. Here, you try to refine it with your own chakra. Uchiha Quan nodded, and then quickly lost his mind. After a while, she felt a special chakra enter her body. This chakra is so violent that you can feel the cells. This is the chakra from 3 tails. Fortunately, the 3 tails chakra is very weak, and dozens of burst cells will not cause any harm to the human body. Uchiha Izumi no longer hesitated, and immediately used his own chakra to wrap 3 tails chakra and began to try to refine it. Nearly a minute later, Uchiha Quan opened her eyes. At this time, she had finished refining the 3 tails chakra. Seeing her open her eyes, Chun-Hui couldn't wait to ask, How is it? How do you feel? Quan said, After refining, my own chakra has increased a little. Refining this small amount of 3 tails chakra is worth dozens of minutes of my practice. Not bad. Chun-Hui nodded with satisfaction. Then he asked, Does your Sharingan feel anything? Quan shook his head. Chun-Hui was not disappointed. Maybe it was refined too little. Asterisk 090 Then now I control the quantity and continuously transport it into your body, so you can refine it to the maximum extent. If anything seems strange, stop and tell me as soon as possible. Yeah. Quan nodded seriously. Then, the two continued to start the operation just now. Chun-Hui only needs to help at the beginning and can be free at other times. However, Chun-Hui carefully observed Quan's facial expressions. If something went wrong, he would stop immediately. Time passed little by little, and more than an hour passed in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, Quan's face looked slightly ferocious. Seeing this, Chun-Hui immediately stopped delivering 3 tails chakra. Uchiha Izumi also quickly opened his eyes. How is it? Chun-Hui asked hurriedly. A trace of joy flashed across Quan's face, and she quickly said, The chakra I refined during this period is enough to be worth my 3 days of hard training. But just now my chakra suddenly felt full, so I had no choice but to stop refining it. Chun-Hui nodded and said, You have just been refining for an hour and 38 minutes, and it is estimated that it has reached saturation, so you feel full? How do your eyes feel now? Quan opened Sharingan instantly, and then said in surprise, My eyes feel warm, as if I am practicing the secret method you gave me, brother. When Chun-Hui heard this, he couldn't hide his joy. His idea worked. Tailed Beast Chakra, can. Chapter 64. After receiving this news, Chun-Hui was so happy that he wanted to look up to the sky and scream. This discovery this time is no less significant than the Sharingan practice to Uchiha, and the chakra used this time is not the original chakra of 3 tails. So this is a renewable resource. And with this, the growth rate of the Uchiha people will definitely increase several times. Not to mention, there are more than just tailed beasts. After Chun-Hui was sweet with Uchiha Quan for a while, he and her brought 3 tails to Uchiha Penghai's room. Now the entire Uchiha has practiced the secret method given by the system, so their loyalty is unquestionable. At this time, apart from Chun-Hui himself, Uchiha Penghai was the most prestigious person in the Uchiha clan. Therefore, Chun-Hui decided to hand over 3 tails to Uchiha Penghai for safekeeping, and he would be responsible for the use of the tribe in the future. And before catching other tailed beasts, Chun-Hui decided that he could only come here to improve his strength if he unlocked the 3 Magatama clan members, or rare geniuses in the clan. Only in this way can Uchiha strength be maximized in a short period of time. After giving all these instructions, Chunhui took Quan and left Uchiha Penghai's room. He is not prepared to let Quan also improve his strength here. Because for Uchiha Quan, Chunhui just had an idea and thought of another better way. Since the chakra of 3 Tails can promote Sharingan, then the chakra of 10 Tails must also be able to do so, and the effect will definitely be stronger. Not only that, because the incomplete 10 Tails chakra is completely controlled by Chunhui, it is definitely easier for Quan to absorb it. So Chunhui and Uchiha Izumi agreed. From then on, Chunhui spent 2 hours every day with her, and at the same time used the incomplete 10 Tails chakra in her body to enhance her strength. On the other side, Terumi Mei and Yuanshi also received the news that Yagura had died. But they didn't panic, because they already had this awareness when they decided to let Chunhui become Mizukage. And even if Chunhui doesn't take action, they will secretly solve this trouble for Chunhui. Without him, after all, Chunhui is now Mizukage and is already on the same front as them. At night, 2 figures sneaked into the Mist Ninja Village quietly. They searched carefully on the edge of the Mist Ninja Village, but unfortunately they encountered a patrolling Lu ninja. One of the men in black robes immediately took action and used an illusion to instantly stun the Mist Ninja. But they did not kill people because the smell of blood and the smell of death. Then they began to use illusions to get information from this Mist Ninja. But as the 2 men in black robes received more and more news, their hearts became more and more shocked. Especially one of the men in black robes suddenly broke out in sweat after learning about the battle between Chunhui and Yagura. He immediately said in a deep voice, "That's it. It's too dangerous to continue. Since that man is in Mist Ninja Village, if we are discovered, we will definitely not be able to walk out of Mist Ninja Village alive." The other person also nodded in agreement, but he still sighed with some doubts. "I didn't expect that the Mist Ninja Village would go through so many things in just half a month. These fog ninjas are really going backwards as they get older. They were forced to this point by a person from another village, and they didn't dare to resist. Although this person is very powerful, these fog ninjas are too spineless." Speaking of this, the man suddenly felt a little angry. Then he continued, "And this news has never spread to the Kingdom of Water. It seems that the newly appointed 5th Mizukage is also a very capable guy. And according to this guy's description, the 5th Mizukage may no longer be as powerful as our leader. Speaking of which, he is still a member of your race. Itachi." Yes, these 2 people are Uchiha Itachi and Loquat Juzo. Half a month ago, Obito felt that the illusion he had cast on 3 Tails had been broken. But it happened that he needed to deal with a lot of things. So after a period of coordination, yesterday he sent Itachi and Loquat Jizong to the Mist Ninja Village to find out the news. There was no expression on Itachi's face, but you can imagine that he was definitely in a bad mood at this moment. He said in a deep voice, "Let's go. The longer we stay, the more dangerous we will be. And now we also have the target information." Loquat Jizong nodded, and then he and Itachi quickly ran towards the outside of the Mist Ninja Village. But what they don't know is that Chunhui has clearly sensed their every move. In the dense forest outside the Mist Ninja Village, Uchiha Itachi and Loquat Juzo are quickly moving away from the Mist Ninja Village. For some reason, they always feel that the atmosphere around them is getting more and more depressing. However, just when they were about to run out of the dense forest, a voice suddenly came over. "Since you have come to my Mist Ninja Village, why are you leaving? If word spreads, maybe others will accuse me of being rude in Shirin Village." Hearing this voice, the expressions of Itachi and Loquat Juzo suddenly changed. However, Loquat Juzo only had a solemn look on his face, while Itachi was suddenly covered in cold sweat. From his eyes, you can even see a hint of fear. Seeing Loquat Juzo trying to stop, Itachi hurriedly shouted, "Run! Don't look back! The person chasing us is Uchiha Chinwei, the 5th Mizukage." When Loquat Jizong heard this, a trace of fear suddenly flashed across his face. After hearing the description of the Mist Ninja, Loquat Juzo didn't think that just the 2 of them could fight against someone as powerful as Akatsuki's leader. But their struggle is in vain after all. No one in this world can be faster than Chunhui. So in just a blink of an eye, the 2 of them found Chunhui standing in front, looking at them with a smile. Itachi then remembered that Jinhui had time and space abilities. His heart suddenly sank, and he immediately gave up the idea of continuing to escape. Seeing Itachi stop, Loquat Jizong also stopped immediately. Then he drew out his beheading sword and looked at the immature boy in front of him with a wary expression. Chunhui said with a smile on his face. We haven't seen each other for so long, and when we came to my place, we didn't even say hello before leaving. After all, we were friends once, but I feel a little sad when you do this. Itachi was silent for a moment, and then asked in a deep voice, You actually became Lee's Mizukage? Did you use Sharingan to control the top management of Miss Ninja Village and want to plan Miss Ninja Village? Tisk, TSK, TSK. Chunhui curled his lips disdainfully upon hearing this. He can kill his own people without mercy. Yet he cares so much about four completely unrelated people. Itachi, sometimes it's really hard for me to tell what kind of person you are. Itachi didn't say anything anymore. After massacring his own people, he naturally had no face to question Chunhui. Chunhui curled his lips and said, As for using conspiracy against something, that's not my style. And it's not me who controls the Mizukage village. Instead, I helped the Mizukage village get rid of the manipulated fourth Mizukage Yagura. Then guess who was controlling Yagura before? Friendly reminder. Yagura is Ten Tails Jinchūriki. When Chunhui said this, Itachi immediately understood that everything was done by Madara. That's why Madara sent him and Loquat Juzo to Miss Ninja Village too. Chapter 65. It seems you have already guessed it. Seeing Itachi's silence, Chunhui immediately raised his mouth. While Obito was controlling Yagura, at least tens of thousands of Miss Ninja and Miss Ninja Village villagers were killed by him. As Mizukage, I naturally have to avenge those who died innocently. Looking at how kind-hearted you are, I think you would be happy to help me get rid of Obito, right? This can be regarded as a good deed and can save you a lot of sins. Facing Chunhui's sarcastic words, Itachi felt his face get hot. He had just asked Chunhui about his conspiracy against the Miss Ninja Village, but it turned out that the person who had a conspiracy against the Miss Ninja Village was Obito, a person who was in cahoots with him. Moreover, Obito also killed tens of thousands of villagers in Miss Ninja Village, which immediately made him speechless. He can't really kill Obito, can he? Wait, Obito? Itachi's eyes suddenly narrowed, and he realized something was wrong. Chunhui's words just now revealed the identity of the masked man. He couldn't help but ask, You just said, the masked man is Obito? Of course. I saw through his identity at a glance when we met. Chunhui shrugged. He knew most of the secrets of this world. I see, Itachi murmured. When they first met, Itachi did not believe in the identity of the masked man Madara. He guessed that the masked man might be one of the Uchiha tribesmen who disappeared during a certain period, but he never expected that in 373, Chunhui would say that the masked man was Uchiha Obito. Itachi is very familiar with Obito because when Itachi was in Umbu, his captain was Kakashi. So of course he had heard Kakashi mention this person before. And because Obito is the only person in the history of Uchiha who gave Sharingan to foreigners, he is still somewhat famous in Uchiha. As for whether Chunhui was lying to him, he had not thought about this issue. Because the moment he saw Chunhui today, he knew that he was destined to die. There is no need for Chunhui to deceive a dead man. And after all, they were once good friends, and Itachi still understood Chunhui's nature, and he never bothered to lie. Okay, the teasing is over. Suddenly, Chunhui's expression turned cold. You can know such a secret before you die. I think you can die without regrets. With that said, Chunhui walked towards you and Loquat Zhang step by step. The slow pace was like a heavy hammer, hitting the hearts of Itachi and Loquat Juzo, making their faces paler. Don't underestimate me. Suddenly, Loquat Zhang roared angrily, swung his beheading sword, and he is a person who is not afraid of anything. After all, even tailed beast bomb dares to play baseball. Funny laugh. Now that he has met Chunhui, even if he dies, he will die vigorously in battle. Remarkably brave. Chunhui gave a faint compliment. Then Chunhui instantly drew his sword, and with a dang sound, Loquat Zhang joined together. Looking at Loquat Zhang, who had no fear on his face in front of him, Hui suddenly had a hint of appreciation for this man. So he said, Although you were a traitor to the Mist Ninja, you had no choice but to do so at the time. And I admire your character very much. Now that I have the identity of 5th Mizukage, I invite you back to the Mizukage village again. As long as you nod, you can regain your identity as a Mist Ninja and avoid death. Loquat Zhang grinned and shouted, Stop talking nonsense. I am not a person who is greedy for life and afraid of death. The current group of Mist Ninjas surrendered the Mist Ninja village to others just because they were afraid of death. Laozi doesn't care about this status. Chun Hui shook his head and sighed softly after hearing this. Your courage is very good, but your brain is not very bright. What a shame. Saying that, Chun Hui no longer held back his hand and flew the dried loquat out of the hospital in an instant. Loquat Zhang staggered back more than 10 steps before he could stop himself. Chun Hui looked at him calmly and said, as the first generation of the 7 ninja swordsmen, you must be very good at swordsmanship. In that case, I will give you a ride with my sword skills. Uchiha-style swordsmanship. The secret of thunder. After saying that, Chun Hui's whole body was instantly wrapped in blue thunder attribute chakra. Chun Hui stepped back, bowed his body slightly, and then suddenly exerted force. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Loquat Juzo. So fast, Loquat Zhang's pupils shrank when he saw this, and then he held the beheading sword in front of him without hesitation. Zhang! A sharp metal collision sounded. Using the huge size of the decapitating sword, Loquat Zhang managed to block the blow. Chun Hui shook his head and said, it's too slow. How many moves can you be lucky enough to do? As he spoke, Chun Hui's sword struck towards Loquat Zhang like thunder. Seeing this, Loquat Zhang did not dare to hesitate, and quickly waved his beheading sword to resist. But in the face of the speed of Chun Hui's ninjutsu, Loquat Juzo's resistance was as fast as a snail. Fortunately, the decapitating sword is very large, and it can block attacks from many ranges with just a slight movement, so Loquat Zhang can barely parry it. But, after all, this is just luck rather than strength. The sound of clothes being cut suddenly sounded. In the end, the decapitating sword failed to block all the attacks. Loquat Zhang was left with a deep and shallow knife mark on his abdomen by Chen Pai's sword. After the first start, within the next few moves, the scars on Loquat Juzo began to increase rapidly. At this time, Itachi on the side finally stopped watching the show and immediately began to rescue Loquat Zhang. Fire style, Impatience Claw Red. After Itachi quickly completed the seal, he spit out a large ball of fire. Then he threw a dozen shurikens at the fireball. Suddenly, the great fireball split into dozens of small fireballs with shurikens in their hands, and quickly attacked Chun Hui. Can you finally take action? Chun Hui narrowed his eyes. But since I said I will use swordsmanship to defeat Loquat Zhang, even if you join us, I will only use swordsmanship before Loquat Zhang dies. Uchiha-style swordsmanship, the secret of the wind. After saying that, a green whirlwind instantly enveloped Chun Hui's blade. Then Chun Hui swung his sword in an extremely weird trajectory, crushing all the small fireballs and the shurikens inside them with one blow. However, at this moment, Loquat Zhang seized the opportunity and slashed at Chun Hui with his sword. But Chun Hui, who has practiced ninjutsu, has reached extremely high levels in terms of speed and strength. So even in a hurry, facing a heavy sword like the beheading sword, Chun Hui still easily blocked it. How long have you been working together? Your cooperation is pretty good. Chun Hui curled his lips. But in the face of absolute strength, numbers and coordination have no effect at all. As he spoke, Chun Hui swung his sword along the blade of the beheading sword and slashed at Loquat Zhang's arm. Loquat Zhang was so shocked that he immediately drew his sword and retreated. But at this moment, the beheading sword seemed to be sucked. No matter how hard Loquat Zhang tried, he could not pull away from Chun Hui's sword. Chun Hui grinned at Loquat Zhang and said, Uchiha, the secret of water in the swordsmanship of Uchiha. In desperation, Loquat Juzo had no choice but to give up the stalemate and immediately abandoned his sword and evacuated. However, at this moment, Itachi in the distance made another move. He closed his left eye, and his right eye instantly transformed into Mangekyo, Amaterasu. Then, the black flames spread out instantly. Suddenly, Chun Hui let out a scream. What happened? Loquat Zhang retreated to Itachi and asked with a shocked look on his face. Itachi said confidently, This is my Mangekyo's ability, Amaterasu. After being hit by this spell, unless I stop casting it, the flames will not go out unless the target is completely burned. Chun Hui is too careless. This time. Chapter 66. Carelessness and underestimating the enemy are taboos for ninjas. Chun Hui thought he had mastered all the situations, but he ignored one thing. There is no invincible ninjutsu in this world, and the consequence of his arrogance is that he will die in my hands. Itachi's face was radiant. He unexpectedly eliminated Chun Hui, his great enemy, and he felt indescribably happy. At the side, Loquat Zhang also cooperated, and looked at Itachi with admiration. Loquat Zhang was about to say a few words of praise, but at this moment, Yuan Hui, who was screaming in agony, suddenly changed his tone. It's so comfortable, just like soaking in a hot spring. Saying that, Chen Hui, who was wrapped in Amaterasu, stretched. How can this be? Itachi was so shocked that his eyes almost dropped. This is Amaterasu. Amaterasu, who is known as the strongest physical attack. How could Chen Hui still be so alive after being hit by this trick, as if nothing had happened? At this time, Chen Hui's teasing voice sounded again. Itachi, your Amaterasu's power is not that great, but the temperature is very good. It's definitely a first-rate hot spring in the ninja world. How can you be okay with nothing? Itachi looked at Chen Hui in shock. Haha. Chen Hui laughed mockingly. Amaterasu is indeed very strong, but if he can't hit the enemy, no matter how powerful he is, it's useless. As he spoke, a ball of Amaterasu instantly fell from Chen Hui's arm. Only then did Itachi see the morning glow all over his body wrapped in chakra. And Amaterasu was completely blocked by this layer of chakra. Chen Hui looked at Itachi coldly, and the Amaterasu on his body began to fall off. After completely merging the chakra of One Tail and Nine Tails, Chen Hui's chakra has long been able to solidify outside the body. So Itachi's Amaterasu has no effect on him. Looking at Chen Hui, who looked like nothing was wrong, and remembering his confident words before, Itachi's face suddenly turned red. Out of anger, Itachi suddenly felt a tightness in his chest. Coupled with the fact that his body has been inexplicably weak recently, Itachi suddenly staggered while clutching his chest. However, misfortunes never come singly. At this moment, Itachi's right eye suddenly hurt again. He screamed suddenly, and the Mangekyo in his eyes instantly turned into a 3 Magatama. Then, Amaterasu, who was burning Chenwei chakra on the ground, also disappeared in an instant. Tisk, TSK, TSK. Chen Hui, how long have you been holding on until your eyes can't bear it? Chen Hui's Mangekyo and Eternal Mangekyo are both broken through by the system for him, so he can't feel the pain of excessive use of his power. Even during Mangekyo, Mangekyo will not have any side effects on Chenwei until the power of the eyes is used up. Chen Hui held a sword in his left hand and a beheading sword in his right hand, and slowly walked towards the two of them. As he walked, he said, "Okay, you are at the end of your rope now, right? In that case, I won't waste any time. I'll send you on your way." Yu and Loquat Zhang were immediately anxious after hearing this. At this time, Itachi briefly lost his combat effectiveness because he released Amaterasu continuously for nearly a minute, and most of Loquat Zhang's strength can only be exerted with the beheading sword. But now the beheading sword has been taken away by Chen Hui and is held in his left hand. So now the two of them have reached the moment of life and death. Water style, mist shinobi technique. At this moment, Loquat Zhang had an idea and used the mist shinobi technique, hoping to use the heavy fog to block Chen Hui's sight and escape. I saw thick fog covering hundreds of meters in an instant, and Loquat Zhang also quickly hid with Itachi after the mist came out. Is that all? This move is of no use to me. Chen Hui shook his head in disappointment. Even if he promised to only use sword skills, this technique would have no effect on him. Not to mention his ability to Sage Mode. He can sense all movements within a radius of dozens of miles. Even if Chen Hui doesn't activate Sage Mode, after integrating Nine Tails chakra, he still has the ability to perceive good and evil. And Itachi and Loquat Zhang were more than a little malicious towards him, so blocking his line of sight is useless to him. The fate of Itachi and Loquat Zhang has long been doomed, and all these resistances are in vain. Chen Hui slowly raised the sword in his hand, and the Cyan Wind Attribute chakra instantly covered the sword. Then he aimed in a direction on the right and swung the sword violently. I saw a green sword energy shot out from the tip of the sword in an instant, and then disappeared into the thick fog. A strong man like him will definitely keep his promise. So as long as he doesn't use ninjutsu to disperse the dense fog, then with the demonstration of the dense fog, we might really be able to escape. As Loquat Zhang spoke, he supported Itachi and quickly ran away into the distance. Itachi said calmly at this time, "Don't be careless. Chen Hui has many methods, and the thick fog may not have any effect on him." Loquat Zhang nodded seriously. After the short duel just now, he had a new understanding of Chen Hui's strength, so he didn't think he and Itachi could escape so easily. What he said just now was just his self-comfort. Zero. Whoosh. At this moment, the two of them suddenly heard an imperceptible cutting sound. The two people's expressions suddenly changed, and then they slapped each other without hesitation and quickly separated with the help of the recoil. The next moment, Itachi saw a green sword energy passing quickly between the two of them. Fortunately, his Mangekyo recovered again at this time, so he could see the trajectory of the sword energy. At the critical moment, he raised his arm and escaped the blow unscathed. Fortunately, I recovered in time. Itachi suddenly shouted in his heart that he was lucky, otherwise his arm would never be spared. But Loquat Juzo is not as lucky as Itachi. He was still a step too slow, and his right arm was instantly cut off by the sword energy. Juzo! Itachi exclaimed, and then quickly came to Loquat Jizong and helped him stop the bleeding right arm. Loquat Jizong endured the pain and roared, "Leave me alone! Run away! I am already useless. And with the injured me, Chun Hui will let me get to you faster. You must take the news here back and let the organization avenge me." But Itachi showed a trace of hesitation. He was not the one to abandon his teammates. Loquat Jizong roared and interrupted Itachi. "Don't worry about mother-in-law and mother-in-law. It's better to die one than to die two." Saying that, Loquat Juzo pushed Itachi hard. Then he smiled miserably and said, "I originally thought that my teammates only had decapitating swords, but I didn't expect that at the last moment, it was you who fought alongside me." Itachi took a deep look at Loquat Jizong and said, "I will avenge you." Then he quickly turned around and left, disappearing into the thick fog in a moment. Loquat Jizong leaned against the big tree and began to recall his life while panting. He murmured, "Old friends, the three of us managed to escape with our lives in front of that monster. That fellow from the Watermelon Mountain pufferfish ghost has gone down, and I will come down to accompany you soon." At this moment, Loquat Jizong heard footsteps getting closer and closer. After a while, Chun Hui walked up to him. "You didn't have to die." Chun Hui shook his head with regret. Loquat Jizong did not answer. He murmured, "I don't know what your purpose is, but now that you have become Mizukage, I hope you can change this bloody village." "I will." Chun Hui raised his sword and instantly slashed across Loquat Jizong's neck. Then he looked in the direction of Itachi's escape and murmured, "In my hands? Do you think you can escape? Make an appointment." Advertisement. Chapter 67. Itachi flew forward quickly, and the fog around him became thinner and thinner. "Come on, we're going out soon." Itachi could already see a faint cliff appearing in front of him. He remembered very clearly that as long as he jumped from here, he would definitely escape. However, just as Itachi stepped out of the thick fog, he suddenly stopped. On the edge of the cliff ahead, a familiar figure was standing facing him. "You know you can't escape from my hands, so why bother for so long?" Then the figure gradually turned around. It was Chun Hui. Itachi responded in a deep voice, "You always have to try it. Now, are you still trying?" Chun Hui asked calmly. Itachi took out several kunai and shurikens and answered Chun Hui's questions with practical actions. Seeing this, Chun Hui sighed slightly and pulled out the sword from his waist again. "Then let's put an end to it." After saying that, Chun Hui quickly killed Weasel like lightning. Ever since Chun Hui and Itachi showed their talents, they have been constantly competing against each other. And today will be the last competition between the two. This wave can kill Itachi in an instant. He will send Itachi to hell to repent after he has finished using all his abilities. This can be regarded as the end of the relationship between the two for nearly 10 years. When Itachi on the other side saw this, he immediately activated Mangekyo, then raised his kunai and faced it. Zhang, Dang, Chong. A moment after the two men fought, dozens of silver sparks intersecting gold and iron were produced. But ever since he was young, Itachi's physical skills were no match for Chun Hui. Not to mention that now that Chun Hui has obtained the sage body, his swordsmanship has been broken through to another level by the system. On the other hand, Itachi's body has been getting weaker and weaker in recent times for unknown reasons. Therefore, after just a dozen moves, Itachi's arms were already paralyzed, and his shooting speed was not as fast as before. Seeing this, Itachi made a quick decision and immediately distanced himself from Chun Hui. At the same time, he quickly began to form seals in his hands. Fire style, great fireball technique. Itachi spit out a fireball with a diameter of 5 to 6 meters and immediately attacked Chun Hui. When Chun Hui saw this, he immediately formed a seal. Water style, water barrier. Then a thick wall of water immediately surrounded Chun Hui, wiping out the great fireball. But Chen Hui was still forming seals at this time, and soon he used a new ninjutsu to attack Itachi. Water-style Water Dragon Bomb. Seeing this, Itachi was not to be outdone. Fire-style Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. After a peak ninjutsu showdown, the surrounding. Itachi was breathing heavily. His body was full of traces of being affected by ninjutsu of various attributes. And at this time, his chakra is almost exhausted. But looking back at Chen Hui, his face was still calm at this time. And there was no trace of a battle on his body. The difference in strength between the two can be seen. Madara. Chen Hui said calmly, "Have you used your physical skills and ninjutsu to the limit? Although I really want to try Tsukuyomi's power, there are too many bugs around, and I'm not an adventurous person. Then, it's time to end it." With that said, Chen Hui came to Itachi like lightning and slashed at his neck with a sword. It's not over yet. However, at this moment, Itachi suddenly shouted angrily. Chen Hui was startled and immediately moved away from Itachi. At this moment, I saw Itachi's body surrounded by a huge red chest frame. "Susanoo?" Chen Hui raised his lips. "I didn't expect that at this last moment, you would master Mangekyo's ultimate power." Speaking of this, Chen Hui suddenly sighed. "But unfortunately, I have no intention of continuing to play." But Itachi didn't pay attention to Chen Hui's words. He roared angrily and injected all the remaining chakra and Lien Shirtong power into the Susanoo around him. Suddenly, Susanoo began to change rapidly. In a moment, you can enter the third form. Chen Hui glanced at it, and Itachi's Susanoo information appeared in front of him. Name: Uchiha Itachi, Susanoo third form, weapon: Shirkwan sword, conceal the target soul across a large realm, reaching the highest level of Super Shadow. Yada mirror, can defend attacks across a large realm, reaching the highest level of Super Shadow. Yasaka's Magatama, long-range attack, with power comparable to Super 5. Level ninjutsu, chakra, Kaga level midterm, TSK. Chen Hui praised. "This equipment is really luxurious. If your chakra level reaches the peak of Kaga level, below the 6 paths level, if you accidentally hit you will be replaced by the limit. At this time, your chakra level, not quantity, is at the mid-Kaga level, which can be compared to a full strength strike at the mid-Kaga level. And my current chakra level, not quantity, is in the middle stage of chakra. If you risk your life and accidentally hit me, you have a chance to take me away." Itachi gasped and looked at Chen Hui, saying, "Then come and try my life-threatening blow." Chen Hui shook his head and said, "Then you have to be able to beat me. I won't give you a chance." Saying that, Chen Hui also instantly summoned the Golden Susanoo, and he directly upgraded it. Facing this huge Susanoo, which is more than 100 meters high, Itachi's Susanoo, which is about 10 meters tall, is as small as an ant. Then, Chen Hui slashed one rung with all his strength without hesitation. This time, he has blessed the power of tailed beasts and celestial beings, and this attack is already his peak attack. Death by this move can be regarded as Chen Hui's farewell gift to Itachi. Seeing this, Itachi roared angrily and first threw out Yasaka's Magatama, but it had no effect at all. Then he quickly raised the Yada mirror, trying to block the blow. But this is Chen Hui's peak attack. According to the system's evaluation, the power of this attack has already reached the late stage of Chaoying. So Itachi's fate is already doomed. Boom! A huge roar echoed across the sky. Under Chen Hui's blow, hundreds of meters of land disappeared instantly, leaving a large crater of several hundred meters on the ground. Countless rolling stones fell towards the cliff, instantly cutting off the river below. At the same time, huge plumes of smoke swept across the battlefield. When the smoke and dust dissipated, the half-dead Itachi was lying in the middle of the pit, with half of his body buried in the earth and rocks. The complete Susanoo gradually disappeared, and then Chen Hui's figure instantly came to Itachi. Chen Hui raised his sword. The tip pointed directly at Itachi's throat. Itachi coughed up a pool of blood and said, "I hope you can let Sasuke go. He is innocent." Chen Hui said, "I have no enmity with him. As long as he doesn't offend me, it doesn't matter if I let him live." Itachi wanted to say something more, but Chen Hui interrupted him directly. They have a hostile relationship now, and Chen Hui doesn't need to listen to Itachi's last words. He said calmly, "In the next life, I hope you can receive education from the Celestial Empire, so as not to continue to become a beast." Saying that, Chen Hui thrust forward, killing Itachi in an instant. Then he lowered his body and took away Itachi's Mangekyo. In this life, with his butterfly effect 0.1, Itachi did not become a beast that killed his father and his mother, but his hands are still stained with the blood of his people. Even though Chen Hui looked down upon the people he killed, this was no reason to forgive Itachi's crimes. Chen Hui received an Earth-style seal and instantly buried Itachi's body into the ground. Then he didn't leave, but instantly came to a big tree 100 meters away. After watching it for so long, why don't you come out and play with me? With that said, Chen Hui gathered the magic of chakra and pierced the big tree with one sword. A scream was heard from within the big tree, and then a creature covered in snowy white with green hair on its head jumped out of the tree. Chen Hui also knows this creature. It is White Zetsu. I don't want to reveal the secret so early. Chen Hui's figure disappeared instantly, and the next moment he appeared next to White Zetsu and stuck his throat. Exclamation point. Chapter 68. In the dark and damp cave, a man wearing an orange Uzumaki-like mask stood quietly in the center of the cave, as if waiting for someone. Madara, your new mask suits you perfectly. At this time, a pitcher plant suddenly appeared from the side of the masked man. Well, from now on my name is Fei, a non-staff member of Shao. The masked man, that is, Obito nodded and said, Hee. Nepenthes nodded in disbelief. What's the matter with coming to me? Absolutely. Obito asked calmly. But something amazing happened. Nepenthes, which is also the black-white Zetsu, smiled lowly. I just sensed that the white Zetsu clone following Itachi and Loquat Juzo seemed to have been killed. Obito frowned immediately, but because of the mask, black-white Zetsu couldn't see it. But black-white Zetsu can imagine that Obito must be in a bad mood at this time. Could it be that your clone was accidentally discovered and killed because of your playfulness? Obito's tone was very dissatisfied. Those white Zetsu avatars have extremely out-of-touch personalities, so I asked them to complete tasks, but they often miss things because of their playfulness. 03 So this time when white Zetsu was killed, Obito was not surprised. He could only curse a few words in his heart, feeling helpless. No. Black-white Zetsu waved his hand and explained, Itachi is very vigilant. In order to avoid being exposed, I chose a very stable clone this time. What do you mean? Obito's eyes suddenly froze when he heard this. Black-white Zetsu nodded, with a trace of seriousness on his face. He said, That's right. There is probably someone in the water country who can sense white Zetsu's mayfly technique. Obito was immediately horrified. Even with the Mangekyo Sharingan, he can't sense the movements of white Zetsu. When did such a character appear in the ninja world? However, at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in Naoyin's mind. That person's strength far exceeds his, and he has even more powerful time and space abilities. Through negligence, he was even forced to use his Anaji by that person. Even when he teamed up with 4 other Kaga levels, he was easily fooled by that person. Moreover, the 5 of them also suffered heavy losses, and their originally perfect plan failed. That person is Uchiha Chinhui. Obito couldn't help but murmured. Could it be that he took those tribesmen too? Seeing that Obito was in a trance, Zetsu couldn't help but ask, Could it be that you were talking about Uchiha Chinhui? Black-white Zetsu knew about Uchiha Chinhui. On the night of the genocide, he was also watching from a distance. However, because Chen Hui used the mirror space, White Zetsu did not see the battle at that time. At that time, Chen Hui had just obtained the system and did not have the sense of good and evil of Sage Mode in Nine Tails, so he was not able to detect the black-white Zetsu. Although Obito mentioned it to him afterwards, he only mentioned it casually. After all, being restrained and beaten is not an honorable thing. Obito nodded seriously and said, Now I understand everything. The release of Yagura's control must be Chen Hui's method. After all, he also has Mangekyo Sharingan. But he took his tribe to the Kingdom of Water. And what is his plan? Black-white Zetsu also said at this time. From your description, this person is about the same age as Itachi, and his mind is also extremely mature. So he must have his intention in doing this. Fei, do we need to take any measures against the Kingdom of Water? At this time, Black Zetsu and Black-white Zetsu also muttered secretly in his heart. The sudden appearance of such a character in Uchiha may hinder my plan. And he got a double pair? No. Now, a triple pair Mangekyo Sharingan. Plus his own Mangekyo. If he finds a way to swallow the eye power of the other 3 pairs of Mangekyo, he might also open the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in an alternative way. Until the real Madara is resurrected, no one in the ninja world can resist him. It seems that I have to take some time to investigate him alone later on to see if I can include him in my plan. Having made up his mind, Black Zetsu came back to his senses and continued discussing with Obito. If you really meet Shinhui, Itachi will be in trouble this time. At this time, Obito also sighed secretly in his heart. The current Akatsuki is still too weak. If it loses the two masters Itachi and Loquat Juzo, it will be very painful. Scorpion, Orochimaru, Engel, Unknown Uncle, Black-White Zetsu, Konan, Pain Six Paths, except for Itachi and Loquat Juzo, not including himself hiding in the dark, these are Akatsuki's entire combat power now. So Obito said in a deep voice, Chunhui's ability is too weird, and it will be very detrimental to us to face him now. So for future missions, we should stay away from the Kingdom of Water. Don't have any contact with the Kingdom of Water until Akatsuki has fully grown up. Obviously, Obito was scared at this time. Of course, it doesn't matter if he doesn't give in. After all, the only Kamui that can make him feel safe has been defeated by Chunhui's mirror space. Black-White Zetsu nodded. Obito hesitated for a moment, and then said again, but you can send some White Zetsu clones into the Kingdom of Water to search for information. I think even if Shinhui has any plans, they should be aimed at Mist Ninja Village. So as long as the White Zetsu doesn't come close to the Mist Ninja Village, it should be fine. Black-White Zetsu nodded again. Okay, then I will pass the news to Pain and the others, and also try to see if Itachi and Loquat Juzo are really dead. Obito nodded, and then Black-White Zetsu quickly dived underground and left. On a dark altar, ZRA, 7 phantoms suddenly appeared around the altar. Pain glanced around, then frowned and asked, why don't you see Itachi and Loquat Jizong? Black-White Zetsu smiled gloomily and said, the clone I sent to follow them can't be contacted either. It seems that the two of them are in danger. Suga. Pain nodded. A trace of shock flashed in his eyes. Itachi can destroy the Uchiha clan, 520 Kage level with stable strength. And Loquat Jizong is not weak, and the beheading sword is at least as powerful as a quasi-shadow. Not to mention the heaven-defying White Zetsu clone with the ability to hide and escape. Just such 3 people were killed at the same time. What's even more frightening is that no news has been released at all. One can imagine how powerful the people who kill them will be. The other Akatsuki members were also secretly shocked at this time, but they didn't say anything. After all, the relationship between Akatsuki members is not very close. But there is one person who is greatly interested in this, and he is Orochimaru. Itachi died? What a pity. I really like his body. But if you can defeat Itachi and Loquat Jizong together, then the person who does it must also have great abilities. It seems I have to go to the Kingdom of Water to see if I have time. After the brief shock, Pain quickly regained his composure. He said, in this case, before we investigate the cause of their 2 deaths, just in case, we will no longer take on the mission of the Water Kingdom for the time being. Let's break up. The members of Akatsuki gathered in a hurry and dispersed in a hurry. Pain and Konan found Obito immediately after finishing the meeting. After listening to Obito's ideas and persuasion, I temporarily considered exploring the Kingdom of Water. But in their hearts, the 2 of them did have a slight interest in the famous Shinhui. Shinhui didn't know all this. After the battle, he immediately returned to Mist Ninja Village. Advertisement. Chapter 69. In a secret room in Mist Ninja Village, Shinhui was sitting cross-legged. It was already the 5th day after he eliminated the duo. Just now, he suddenly felt a throbbing in his eyes, as if they had sublimated. So he immediately entered the secret room. After so long of integration, we finally succeeded. There was a hint of excitement on Shinhui's face. During the night of genocide, the system reminded him that devouring Fugaku's Mangekyo would have unexpected benefits. After 2 months of adapting, Shinhui had a hunch that the system's benefits were coming. He couldn't wait to ask, System, what are the benefits you mentioned? After verification, Host now has the ability to create space. What? Create space? Shinhui's eyes widened immediately after hearing this. Yes, Host's Mangekyo Sharingan originally contains the power of space, while Uchiha Fugaku's Mangekyo Sharingan contains a trace of the power of time. Coupled with Host's unique pupil technique mirror space, Host can now create a real space that will not disappear. There is no limit to the number or volume of the created space, and all rules within it are formulated by the Host. Note: during the formation of the space, the star's pupil power and chakra need to be consumed, but they are no longer needed after the space is created. Shinhui swallowed subconsciously and couldn't help but murmured, I'll make a lot of money now. Shinhui, who has read the original work, is deeply aware of the power of this ability. Isn't Kagaya's Ten no Gachu awesome? He can control everything in the 6 worlds at will. But Chunhui can now make it himself, and there is no limit to the quantity. Thinking of this, Chunhui couldn't help it. He quickly asked, "System, what should I do? Use the mirror space? Then inject chakra and pupil power into it, and use your mind to imagine it as a real space." Friendly reminder. At this time, the host's chakra and pupil power cannot build an overly large space. Please consider the creation of the host, understood. Chunhui nodded, and then he quickly released the mirror space. However, for the sake of safety, and because this time it was just an experiment, his mirror space was only open to A. Then he closed his eyes and started operating according to the system's instructions. Hoo, I didn't expect it would consume so much. Chunhui gasped for breath. The pupil power and chakra he had just consumed were almost 90% of what he had in his heyday. You must know that at this time, he is the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, plus the body of an immortal. Not to mention he also fused the chakra of 1 tail and 9 tails. But fortunately, the space is still set up. Chunhui couldn't help but have a smile on his face. His hard work for most of the day was not in vain. At this time, the system prompt appears again. Constructing space is based on pupil power and chakra as a supplement. When growing the space, chakra is mainly used and pupil power is as a supplement. Building a space will consume a huge amount of chakra and pupil power, but when the space is grown, the required chakra and pupil power will be reduced by 10 times. So, if I use about 10% of the chakra and less pupil power, I can increase this space by 1 cubic meter? Yes, this is still acceptable. Chunhui immediately smiled and nodded. If you have to drain it every time it grows by 1 cubic meter, then this skill will be too useless. After all, there are less than 4 years until the plot begins. He doesn't have decades to waste. Chunhui secretly calculated. I have exhausted all the chakra now, and it will take about a day to recover it all. And it will take 3 days for the pupil power to be exhausted. It seems that the amount of chakra will be a big problem in the next period of time. Now Chunhui's chakra level has reached the mid-stage super shadow stage, but the number is only about the same as the most common-tailed beasts. After all, he was only 13 years old at this time. He was still a few years away from the 16 to 20 years old when his strength exploded, and his body was still in the growth stage. Therefore, even with various plug-in blessings, his chakra is still not unlimited. But despite this, Chunhui's chakra power can still kill 99% of the people in the ninja world instantly. It seems that in the past few years, I can only wait and grow up. Chunhui stretched. Fortunately, there is no strong person who can compete with Chunhui in the current ninja world, so he wasn't too anxious. Then this space. As the first one, let's treat it as an exclusive private space. Chunhui raised his lips, and then threw all his belongings into the. During this period, Terumi Mei should have almost dealt with the matter in Mist Ninja Village, right? If this is the case, then the plan to transform the Kingdom of Water should be put on the agenda. With that said, Yuan Hui used divine appearance to instantly leave the secret room. In Mizuki's office, Terumi Mei and Yuan Shi were discussing things. Oh, what a coincidence that we are here. Suddenly, a slightly lazy voice came, and then Chunhui instantly appeared on the Mizuki's chair. Mizuki-sama. Upon seeing this, Terumi Mei and the 2 men hurriedly saluted. No need to be polite. Chunhui waved his hand, and then asked, "How are the affairs in the village being handled?" Terumi Mei straightened up immediately after hearing this, and then reported with a hint of pride. I have strictly formulated some rules and require the Mist Ninjas to abide by them. Because of your authority, Mizuki-sama, the Fog Ninjas obey your orders. So now the villagers of Mist Ninja Village are no longer afraid of ninjas, and their lives have begun to become stable. Registration for this session of Ninja School has officially started, and so far more than 80 children have signed up. Well done. Chunhui immediately nodded in praise. You must know that in the previous ninja school, when the villagers rejected ninjas, only a dozen new students were recruited every year. This is enough to reflect Terumi Mei's ability, and it can also be seen that she is very dedicated to this matter. Otherwise, it would be impossible to prevent so many villagers from prejudices in just over 10 days. After the report, Terumi Mei immediately said, "The teachers of this ninja school need to be replaced. The previous batch still retains the teaching methods of the Blood Mist period. I wonder how you plan to arrange it?" Chunhui touched his chin when he heard this, thought for a moment, and then said, "Wang Liao Zhao, then let's change to some fog ninjas who are older and have a gentler personality. It's up to you to choose." And in the future, I will also select some tribesmen to work in the school. In addition, I will also let them selectively select a few from other departments to join. After all, Uchiha can be considered a part of the Mist Ninja Village now, so it's not good to remain aloof. Terumi Mei nodded, and Chen-Hui continued. As for the senior students in the ninja school, starting from now on, choose those with better personalities to start studying again. And starting from the second grade, the ninja school is divided into two campuses, the actual combat campus and the technology campus. Actual combat area? Technology area? Terumi Mei and Yuanshi were a little confused. Chen-Hui nodded and explained. After the first-year selection, those with good ninja talents will be given priority to enter the actual combat campus for ninja training. Those who are not talented as ninjas will enter the science and technology campus. They mainly study various practical technologies. I will find a dedicated person to take charge of the specific tasks. Chapter 70. Chen-Hui continued. In the actual combat campus, the most basic ninjutsu can be taught to them. Even simple and not so difficult C-level ninjutsu will do. The schooling period is still 6 years, but if you meet my requirements, you can graduate early. And all expenses during the ninja school will be borne by the village. I only have one requirement, that is, those students who are actually on campus and graduate must have the strength of an elite genin. If you can't do it, you won't be awarded graduation and will have to repeat the grade for a year. If you still fail to meet the requirements after 1 year, you will be expelled from the ninja school and will not be granted ninja status, and you will have to pay all school fees within the first year of leaving the school. Understood. Terumi Mei nodded heavily. She understood what Chen-Hui meant. From now on, Mist Ninja Village will train ninjas in an elite mode. Although this will greatly reduce the number of fog ninjas, after experiencing that night, Terumi Mei has understood one thing. That is, in front of a truly strong person, no matter how many people there are, they are as undeterrent as weeds on the roadside. As for the science and technology campus, Chen-Hui tapped the table with his fingers slightly and began to think about the master in this area. The first one is undoubtedly Orochimaru, and his current assistant Yakushi Kabuto is also very good. The other one is Tono Kasuki from Boruto, who should be in his teens now. The technological achievements of these three people can be said to be the ceiling of the Hokage world. So Chen-Hui doesn't mind taking the time to kidnap them. 6:20 after a long time, he said, at this stage, there is still 1 year before school starts. You first collect top people from all walks of life in the ninja world, and bring them here no matter what. What kind of person is he specifically? Terumi Mei took out a pen, ready to record Chen-Hui's request at any time. Chen-Hui said, for example, your bathroom. Cough, 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 cough. Upon hearing the last two words, Terumi Mei suddenly coughed violently. She immediately remembered the first time she met Chen-Hui. She was bullied miserably without knowing it. Thinking of this, Terumi Mei couldn't help but blush slightly, holding the record book in her arms tightly. At this time, she couldn't help but feel that Chen-Hui's words had a deeper meaning, and even felt that the way Chen-Hui looked at her was very malicious. So Terumi Mei couldn't help but rolled her eyes at Chen-Hui. Little did he know that this look of hers was so charming in Chen-Hui's eyes, which made Yuan-Hui's heart tremble. But Chen-Hui quickly came to his senses. He couldn't help but touch his nose. Why is this woman so crazy? Are relatives coming? It seems it's not easy to communicate with her too much today. Then Chen-Hui quickly returned to his calm state. He continued calmly, for example, whether you are the inventor or manufacturer of the water heater in your bathroom, they are all talents needed by the science and technology campus. There are also radios, cameras, televisions. The researchers and manufacturers of these devices are your targets. No matter what method you use, I want to see them before the science and technology campus officially opens next year. Only then did Terumi Mei realize that she had misunderstood, and it was a bad misunderstanding. Yes, but she still nodded with a blushing face. But she was anxious in her heart and said to herself, Terumi Mei, Chen-Hui is only 13 years old. What are you thinking? Are you crazy about falling in love? It's not like no one wants you. Seeing Terumi Mei's face turn red again, Chen-Hui couldn't help but frown slightly and asked, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well today? No. Terumi Mei was immediately embarrassed and shook her head like a rattle. It's just that the air is not circulating. I'm a little stuffy. She recovered a little, but the blush on her face was still very bright. Air does not circulate? Chen-Hui turned around and saw that the windows on both sides were wide open. Chen-Hui couldn't help but look at Terumi Mei strangely. She is so strange today. and her current posture is too different from the royal sister-like appearance in the original work. The experienced Master Yuan on the side had already understood everything, but he just looked at this scene with a smile, secretly sighing. It's so good to be young. But looking at the scene in front of him, he was also moved in his heart. If Terumi Mei can really get together with Chen Hui, then those who rely on Ninja Village will be even more secure. Chen Hui shook his head and stopped thinking about these trivial matters. Chen Hui said, "Now that you have finished talking about your affairs, Audaid, let me tell you my plan." Terumi Mei and Master Yuan suddenly looked solemn and looked. "First, spread the most basic chakra extraction method, and I want everyone in the Water Kingdom to start practicing chakra. And among those who have cultivated chakra, children under the age of 10 and with a clean family background can make an exception and enter the Mist Ninja Village for further study. The most basic chakra extraction method is extremely difficult to practice, and it can only be practiced up to genin. If you can practice chakra without instruction, your talent is unquestionable. Second, except for the group of people who carried out my mission to search for scientists, the current fog ninjas only accept missions from their own countries for the time being. In addition to the regular tasks, let's add another one to them. Use ninjutsu to help the residents of the Kingdom of Water in all aspects of their daily lives. This rule does not matter the level of the ninja, and every ninja must perform similar tasks at least 5 times every month. Even Jonin. No. Unexpectedly, at this moment, Master Yuan suddenly stood up. When Terumi Mei saw this, she immediately shouted that something was wrong, but before she could speak, Master Yuan started talking non-stop. The first one is no problem. After all, it can not only enhance the ninjutsu of the Kirin ninja, but also ensure the quality. But not the second one. The number of mist ninjas is so small now that there are simply not enough people to help organize the people across the country, and the mist ninjas will definitely resist this. Besides, Genin and ordinary Chunin are just fine, but Jonin is the backbone of the ninja village. How can it be so? Before Master Yuan could finish his excited words, he felt the air around him suddenly become cold. At the same time, a feeling that made his heart palpitate suddenly made him breathless. Chen Hui said coldly, "I said that from the moment I became Mizukage. I just say it, and you just do it. You have no right to question what I said, and you have no right to bargain with me. I only want results. If I can't get results, I will cause trouble for you. Remember your identity. Today is the first time, and I hope it will also be the last time." Chen Hui's words were like a heavy hammer, causing Master Yuan to sit down immediately with a pale face. Terumi Mei showed a trace of reluctance when she saw this, but one still didn't say anything. After all, Chun was just giving a warning this time, and Master Yuan really crossed the line. When they once asked Chen Hui to serve as Mizukage, Chen Hui said, "Chen Hui is used to being dictatorial. When Chen Hui gives orders, they only need to do it without questioning or pushing away." Terumi Mei and Yuan sure promised that they would be able to do it, and it was indeed true in the first few days. But during the more than 10 days of getting along with each other, Chen Hui didn't behave so fiercely, and most of the time he was kind and cheerful. Therefore, Master Yuan gradually forgot about Chen Hui's intimidation, and even began to slowly return to his original demeanor when he was a long watch. But Chen Hui's behavior today let him know. Chen Hui is the one in control of the overall situation, and they have no right to bargain. Advertisement. Chapter 71. Sorry, Mizukage-sama, I understand. Master Yuan sat on the chair a little decadently, as if he had aged by more than 10 years. When Chen Hui saw this, he felt no pity in his heart. After all, they had agreed at the beginning, and these were the lessons Master Yuan deserved, and Chen Hui had already dealt with them very lightly. After all, if Master Yuan succeeds in crossing the line this first time, he will definitely go even harder in the future. If things go on like this, Chen Hui's majesty will definitely be challenged. After all, people don't have long memories. On the contrary, his way of dealing with it is not scolding. The atmosphere in the office suddenly became quiet. Ahem. Terumi Mei coughed twice immediately, breaking the concentration. Then she immediately asked, "Mizukage-sama, is there anything else you would like to add?" Chen Hui said calmly, "Let's arrange these 2 things today. Just say it's my order. If anyone among the Mist Ninjas is dissatisfied with my arrangements, or thinks he is a special case, let him come and talk to me. If they don't come to see me or carry out my orders, let them go to jail. If the circumstances are serious, directly abolish his strength and let him become an ordinary villager." "Yes." Terumi Mei responded loudly. "Don't worry, Mizukage-sama. The Mist Ninjas all obey your orders." Once they know this order, they will definitely execute it with the greatest enthusiasm. But she was secretly complaining in her heart. You have said this, even if they don't agree, who dares to come to discuss with you? Isn't that too long to live? Go. Chun-Hui waved his hand lightly. Terumi Mei bowed slightly, and then walked to Yuanshir's side, and he helped him up with a pale face. I excuse myself. Master Yuan also bowed slightly to Chun-Hui, and then walked out of the office with Terumi Mei. When the two of them left, Chun-Hui thought for a moment, and then disappeared in a flash. Uchiha tribe, in the room of the punishment elder Uchiha Hai. Uchiha Penghai said with a smile, I wonder why the patriarch came to see me? Chun-Hui frowned slightly and said, Since we are in the Mist Ninja Village, and the clan members have now joined the Mist Ninja Village, it doesn't matter if you call me clan leader within the clan. Just call me Mizukage outside. Yes. Uchiha Penghai nodded, remembering this matter deeply in his heart. Chun-Hui nodded when he saw this. Uchiha Penghai still knew how to measure. He continued, I came here this time to arrange something for the clansmen to do. Advertisement. After all, we have also joined the Mist Ninja Village. No matter what, these Mist Ninjas will become your comrades in the future. Now Uchiha Feng is handling things for me in Daming Mansion, and other clan members cannot be idle either. So the elders first select those with less arrogant personalities, slowly integrate into the village, and cultivate relationships with each other. Uchiha Penghai said quickly, Don't worry, clan leader. I have been reteaching the clan members in the past 2 months, and now their characters have become much better. That's good. Chun-Hui nodded with satisfaction. Then select the 20 tribesmen with the best personalities and join the ninja school to teach the children who have just entered school. Children in the clan who have reached school age will also join the ninja school. As for the remaining ones whose personalities you think can pass the test, let them selectively join various departments in the village. Although I can't suppress the Mist Ninja Village with my strength, when the battle comes, how they will help you depends on your efforts. Uchiha Penghai immediately assured. Don't worry, Patriarch, people will not let you down. That's good. In the blink of an eye, 3 months have passed. Wu Quan is an elite jonin of the Mist Ninja Village. As one of the best villagers below Kaga level, he still has great prestige in the Mist Ninja Village. Just 3 months ago, the newly appointed Mizukage issued an order. All ninjas in Mist Ninja Village, regardless of their strength, must help the Land of Water in their daily lives 5 times a month. As soon as this order came out, the Mist Ninja Village was in an uproar. They are ninjas, strategic units in each village, specially designed for killing. How can you use ninjutsu to farm land, build bridges, and build houses? But it was Mizukage who issued the order, the man who could crush an entire village of them by himself. Therefore, even if they were unhappy, they did not dare to show anything. Wu Quan originally felt the same way, thinking that Chun-Hui was doing something unnecessary and it was a waste of time. But recently, he no longer has this idea. Master Wu Quan is here again. At this time, a respectful voice interrupted Wu Quan's thoughts. When he came to his senses, the woman stood in front of him holding a young man. He knew this person. He was a widow from this village, alone with a child. Just half a month ago, there was a sudden heavy rain in this place, and the house of this mother and son was located at the bottom of the mountain. Finally, the mountain collapsed and the mother and son were instantly buried under the rocks. A group of villagers wanted to rescue them, but the mother and child were buried so deep that it would take several hours to dig them out. How could the mother and son survive by then? Advertisement. Fortunately, he came here on a mission at this time and took action immediately when he saw the situation. He used Earth Style to save the lives of the mother and son from the flow of rocks. 0. Please give me flowers. Moreover, he later used various ninjutsu to save hundreds of acres of food outside the village. This is the survival guarantee for this village next year. Without him, I don't know how many people in this village will starve to death next year. Therefore, the villagers were extremely grateful to him. Now every time he comes to this village, he will receive warm hospitality from the villagers. When leaving, countless villagers would give him a lot of things, such as eggs, fresh vegetables, homemade snacks, etc. Although he does not need these, he can feel the respect and admiration from the villagers from the bottom of his heart. This was simply out of reach for him. During the reign of Yagura, the Mist Ninjas were notoriously vicious, and everyone in the Mist Ninja Village, and even the people of the entire Water Kingdom, were filled with fear and hatred for them. Point 0. When he was on a mission, people from the Kingdom of Water would stay away from him when they saw his forehead protector. The huge street, even at its busiest, would become extremely quiet after his arrival. At that time, he could feel the way people looked at him, with such awe, fear, and hatred. But he's used to it, because that's how ninjas are supposed to be, right? But at this moment, looking at the mother and son in front of him, as well as the villagers passing by who kept saying hello to him, his thoughts were shaken. Under these respectful and kind eyes, he suddenly felt that this should be a real ninja. They use their strength far beyond ordinary people and various magical and unpredictable ninjutsu to help people who are in trouble, as if this is the original meaning of their existence. Mizuki-sama, I understand what you were thinking. Ninjas are not necessarily tools for killing people. Wu Quan murmured. This was the first time he addressed Chen Hui as an honorific from the bottom of his heart. Such things have happened countless times in the Kingdom of Water. What is considered impossible for ordinary people is easy in front of ninjas. The mist ninjas used their actual actions to gain the heartfelt respect of the people of the Kingdom of Water. In this environment, the mentality of the shinobi gradually changed. They began to enjoy the process and enjoy it. Originally, they only needed to complete 5 daily tasks a month, but some ninjas gradually increased it to 10 or 15 times. What's more, even when I have free time every day, I will enthusiastically find daily tasks by myself. Chapter 72. Mizuki-sama, you are truly amazing. Terumi Mei looked at Chen Hui with admiration. She had seen all the changes in Mist Ninja Village in the past 3 months. Under Chen Hui's actions that she couldn't understand, the relationship between the Mist Ninja and the people of the Water Kingdom heated up sharply. Now when Mist Ninja goes out, he can feel the enthusiasm of the people of the Land of Water wherever he goes. This was simply impossible before. At that time, the people of the Kingdom of Water, to exaggerate a bit, wished that all the Shinrin would die. Today's water country is more vibrant than she once imagined. And all this only took 3 months. If she were allowed to come, with her fixed thinking, it would be very difficult for her to come here in 30 years. Mizuki-sama, what should we do next? Terumi Mei looked at Chen Hui with eyes full of stars. The man in front of her is not only unique in the ninja world, but he is also extremely powerful. Just 3 months of 660 time has changed the situation of the Kingdom of Water for more than 10 years. Such a powerful ability made the last barrier in Terumi Mei's heart disappear. If he were 5 or 6 years older, it would be worth it even if he chased me. It's a pity that he is only 13 now. When he grows up, I will probably be old and yellow, right? Not to mention he also has a childhood sweetheart and a little sister. Terumi Mei couldn't help but feel sorry for herself. At this time, Chen Hui did not notice Terumi Mei's absence. After hearing Terumi Mei's question, he immediately raised his eyebrows and looked at Terumi Mei thoughtfully. The next step? Of course, war. Fight, fight. Terumi Mei looked at Chen Hui in disbelief. She really couldn't keep up with Chen Hui's thinking rhythm. Terumi Mei swallowed and asked cautiously, well, may I ask, who should we hit? Of course it's the nearest one. The Kingdom of Rainbow. Chen Hui said matter-of-factly. Terumi Mei was even more shocked when she heard this. Just when she was about to ask, she remembered the lesson of a current Yuan master. Suddenly, she hesitated to speak and looked at Chen Hui impatiently. When Chen Hui saw Terumi Mei's appearance, he fell back lazily and lay. I'm in a good mood today, so I'll allow you to ask questions for the time being. Just ask. Terumi Mei said quickly. It's no problem to conquer the Rainbow Kingdom. I will make arrangements right away. As soon as she opened her mouth, she made her position clear. She was definitely on Jinhui's side. Then Terumi Mei asked cautiously, I just want to know, why do we want to fight? Why should we choose the Kingdom of Rainbow? And for what reason should we fight? Chen Hui replied lazily, because in this era before I have unified them, ninjas will eventually have to face battles. The daily tasks in my spare time are to appease the psychology of the fog ninjas and prevent them from being influenced by killing and bloodshed. But if things go on like this, they will gradually lose their ambition and their combat capabilities will begin to decline. Although this doesn't affect me, as long as I endure it in the garden, I won't be threatened. But since I am Mizuki now, you can't just leave everything to me, right? So this standing is a small training for the Mist Ninjas, so that they will not be too slack. Just think of all this as training them in advance for the final battle of unification. When Chen Hui said this, Terumi Mei suddenly woke up. It's not the time to relax yet, so the fighting power of the love ninjas can't be given away. Chen Hui continued lazily. As for why we attacked the Kingdom of Rainbow, it's even simpler. Because they are closest to us, it is very convenient to do it and save time. Just that simple. Terumi Mei was a little dumbfounded by Chun Hui's second answer. Isn't this too childish? Chun Hui rolled his eyes and said depressedly, Can't you hear the joke? Of course not. No matter when we march, the first thing we have to solve is the Kingdom of Rainbow, because they are right behind us. Once they unite with the mainland countries, it will be very uncomfortable to stab us in the back. That's it, Terumi Mei said with a stunned expression. Seeing this, Chun Hui immediately said angrily, They say that if you stay with a wise man, your IQ will get higher and higher. My IQ is not low, right? After following me for so long, why are you becoming more and more useless? Hee hee. Terumi Mei smiled innocently, showing her stupid look. She didn't know why, but she didn't want to use her brain in front of Chen Hui. She just thought that just do as Chen Hui said, and it would be fine. It seems silly, but Terumi Mei is very nostalgic for this inexplicable sense of security. Seeing this, Chen Hui sighed and began to answer the third question. As for the reasons for attacking, there are three now. First, the daimyo of Rainbow Country hired me, Uchiha Obito, the traitor of the Uchiha clan, to control the fourth Mizukage Yagura, causing the tragedy of the water. Second, after Yagura was dealt with, the daimyo of the Rainbow Kingdom was still unwilling to give in and hired people again to assassinate the daimyo of the Kingdom of Water. This ultimately led to the death of the daimyo lady of the Land of Water. Third, and the most important point, I think they are unhappy. Is it enough? Enough. Terumi Mei nodded heavily. The reasons are all secondary. I just want to make a name for myself. Just remember that the main goal is to win the Rainbow Kingdom. Seeing Terumi Mei nod, Chun Hui turned to the window and shouted, Kisame. The next moment, Kisame, the dried persimmon, appeared in front of the two of them. I've met Mr. Mizukage and Mr. Staff. Kisame bowed respectfully to Chen Hui and Terumi Mei. No need to be polite. Chen Hui nodded, and then he scanned with the system. In 3 months, Kisame has actually reached the quasi-shadow level, and with the addition of Samahata, he can even reach the early stage of Kaga level. Then Chen Hui said, Did you hear it just now? Attacking the Kingdom of Rainbow is a good opportunity for you. I gave Samahata to you, but because you previously performed Umbu's secret missions, other Sunin have not seen your strength. So this time we attack the Kingdom of Rainbow, you will be the one to lead it. I hope you can show off your power in this battle and prove your ability to control Samahata. Kisame immediately vowed, Don't worry, Mizukage-sama, I will definitely live up to your expectations. Chun Hui smiled and nodded. He was indeed very optimistic about Kisame. Then he continued, We have to control the duration of the war. I think it will only be 3 months. If it's too much, it will waste the country's people and money. But if it's too little, it won't have the effect of training 0.6, so 3 months is just right. And the Mist Ninjas can't all go up at once. Otherwise, the Rainbow Country's military capabilities won't be able to resist for half a month. So the 3,000 Mist Ninjas are divided into 6 batches. Each batch has 500 people. Only one group of people is needed to attack at a time, and they will be rotated every half a month. Yes. Terumi Mei and Kisame immediately responded. Go down and get ready. We'll start traveling tomorrow. Chun Hui waved his hand, and the two of them turned around and went down to get ready. The next day, Kisame took the first batch of 500 Mist Ninjas and headed toward the Kingdom of Rainbow with murderous intent. At the same time, the news of the expedition has quickly spread throughout the Water Kingdom. But this time, the residents of the Kingdom of Water did not resist, because the image of Xiaoren had already undergone earth-shaking changes. And they know that the Mist Ninja Village took action to make the Kingdom of Water more stable. Advertisement. Chapter 73. The Kingdom of Rainbow actually has its own ninja village, named Rainbow Ninja Village. In the Rainbow Ninja Village, the strongest village leader is only as strong as elite Jonin. Only the village chiefs of the 5 major countries can call themselves Kage, not counting the shameless one from Star Ninja Village, and no one admits it. As for Jonin, there are only a dozen in Hongnin Village, more than 100 Chunin, and more than 400 Genin. This is the full strength of Hong Ninja Village. And because Hong Ninja Village is a small ninja village, there are no awesome ninjutsu in the village. Therefore, even fog ninjas of the same level, and with a little bit of talent can do it. In addition to the Kingdom of Rainbow, there are 2 other forces. One group is the 100-man guard team recruited by the daimyo of Rainbow Country. However, most of them are wandering ninjas, so their strength is very low. Moreover, the daimyo are all afraid of death, so this group of forces will not join the battlefield unless absolutely necessary. The last group was an army formed by ordinary people, with a total of 4,000 people. But the only threat they have, and that only targets Chunin and below, is the volley of thousands of arrows. The above is the entire combat power of the Rainbow Kingdom. As for the Mist Ninja Village, although the 3,000 Mist Ninjas left behind after the Blood Mist are all mediocre, their strength is at least above Chunin. Coupled with a Kisame who can display Kaga-level strength, even if there are only 500 people, the kingdom of Han Hong cannot stop it. Therefore, after only 5 days of fighting, the daimyo of Rainbow Country had no choice but to send an army of 3,000 ordinary people. But even so, the kingdom of Rainbow still suffered defeats one after another. In desperation, the daimyo of the Rainbow Country had no choice but to submit a letter of surrender to the daimyo of the Water Country, and also gave a lot of precious resources and money. However, at this time, the daimyo of the Kingdom of Water has become Chan Hui's puppet. Naturally, he will not stop attacking just because of this small amount of resources. What he wants is the entire Kingdom of Rainbow. Besides, after taking over the Kingdom of Rainbow, doesn't everything in it belong to him? And it will be dozens or hundreds of times more. After submitting the surrender letter to no avail, everyone in the Rainbow Kingdom began to panic. The daimyo of the Rainbow Kingdom was also in a panic at this time. Finally, he gritted his teeth and began to mobilize his escort team. In the end, except for leaving a dozen people to continue to protect himself, he sent the rest to the battlefield. In this way, the invasion of Mist Ninja Village was slightly curbed, but the Rainbow Kingdom front is still gradually losing ground. After nearly a month of fighting, the daimyo of the Rainbow Kingdom once again submitted a letter of surrender to Chan Hui. This time not only did they bring more abundant resources than last time, but they were also willing to cede land to protect themselves. The daimyo of the Kingdom of Rainbow is willing to offer all the large islands outside the main island of the Kingdom of Rainbow, and from now on surrender to the Kingdom of Water in order to get a chance to survive. You must know that these islands already account for nearly 1/3 of the... But Chen Hui still refused, and now the daimyo of the Rainbow Country was completely desperate. In the blink of an eye, more than 2 months have passed since the attack on the Rainbow Kingdom. At this time, the last batch of Mist Ninjas have landed on the battlefield of Rainbow Country and begun the final clearing work. During this period, the daimyo of Rainbow Country wanted to ask for help from other countries, but the people they sent were all wiped out by Kisame. And the reason why Kisame can accurately intercept all the messengers is because of the new technique created by Chen Hui. In the original work, Nagato has a technique called the Rain Tiger Free Technique. This technique takes advantage of the continuous rain in the Land of Rain and integrates its own chakra into the clouds in the sky. Therefore, whenever an enemy sneaks into the Land of Rain and gets caught in the rain, Nagato will immediately notice it. The new technique created by Chen Hui was inspired by this. But what Chen Hui relied on was not rain, but the ubiquitous fog in the Land of Water. The climate of Rainbow Country is similar to that of Water Country, so Kisame used this technique in Rainbow Country, completely cutting off the last hope of the daimyo of Rainbow Country. What's ridiculous is that the daimyo of Rainbow Country doesn't know anything at this time and thinks that other countries will come to save him before long. Chen Hui didn't pay too much attention to the battlefield of Rainbow Kingdom because from the moment the troops were sent out from Mist Ninja Village, the outcome was already determined. These days, Chen Hui simply strolls around the village, calling Uchiha Spring and calling Terumi Mei from time to time. The days simply don't have to be too leisurely. After all, his strength has reached the limit at this age at this time, and he will have to wait for his body to continue to develop further. But today, the plaque suddenly became interesting, because he just sensed that 2 very interesting auras entered the Kingdom of Water. Although the aura is unfamiliar, it is very similar to that of most fog ninjas, and it is very murderous, and its strength has reached the level of elite jonin. The other one is a little weak, obviously still a child at this time, but his breath has a hint of chill. Chen Hui, who was familiar with the original work, guessed the identities of these 2 people. Zabuza and Haku? They are really 2 interesting people. Chen Hui smiled slightly, and Guinjue closed his eyes. After a while, when Chen Hui opened his eyes again, the figures of Zabuza and Haku appeared in front of him. Ever since Zabuza and Haku stepped into the Kingdom of Water, they felt something was very wrong. He came back this time to sneak away a ninja sword to improve his strength. Therefore, for convenience, he put on the Mist Ninja's forehead protector again. What's wrong is reflected here. In the Kingdom of Water, Mist Ninja has always been synonymous with devil. Therefore, as long as the people of the Kingdom of Water see the Mist Ninja, they will immediately hide away. Some of them are not afraid of death and even dare to curse them behind their backs. But what? The civilians he met along the way gave him kind smiles one after another, and he could even feel the respect from the bottom of their hearts. Not only that, some children even greeted him from afar, calling him Ninja Big Brother. This time Zabuza thought he was under an illusion. He has only been away for 2 or 3 years. Is this still the water country he knows? Shiro on the side is enjoying this very much, because he also wears a mist ninja forehead protector given to him by Zabuza. Unknowingly, Zabuza and Shiro walked into the busy city. When Zabuza came back to his senses, he suddenly felt something bad. He is currently wanted in Baigairai Ninja Village, and it is too easy to be exposed in a place like this. However, he was still a step too slow. Unknowingly, the 3 mist ninjas had quietly approached Zabuza while he was stunned. Zabuza, who came back to his senses, naturally noticed it. At this time, he has already clamped a detonating talisman in his hand. As soon as the 3 mist ninjas approach, he will immediately use it to create chaos and escape with Shiro. After all, this is a city in the Kingdom of Water, and Zabuza does not dare to fight casually. After all, once he is held back, he may face dozens or hundreds of mist ninjas surrounding him. Closer. Not even close. Zabuza was secretly thinking that he would throw out the detonating talisman in his hand in the next second. However, at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in front of Zabuza. "Brother Ninja, this is for you." Zabuza turned his head, only to find that the person in front of him was a little girl. At this time, the little girl was handing a candied Haws to buy. In the distance, a woman nodded to him in a friendly manner. In her hand, she was holding a pole covered with brightly colored candied Haws. These 2 people were the mother and son who were rescued by Wu Quan from the falling stone. At this time, Zabuza clearly felt that the 3 fog ninjas behind him stopped, but at this time, Bai was at a loss. Although Zabuza didn't know what happened, he still touched Haku's head and said, "Take it. This is very dangerous. After all, for ninjas, unfamiliar food may be a deadly knife. But I don't know why, he still did it." Bai then took the candied Haws and whispered, "Thank you." The little girl was giggling and ran back to her mother. Then the woman smiled and nodded at Zabuza, and then pulled the little girl away gradually. At this time, the 3 fog ninjas behind him did not continue to approach, but shouted to. Chapter 74. Zabuza. As soon as the shouts from behind rang out, Zabuza's eyes suddenly froze. "Walk." Then without saying a word, he picked up Bai without hesitation and ran quickly out of the city. After all, he was not sure how many mist ninjas there were in the city and their strength. It would be troublesome if he got entangled. He is just an elite jonin, but he can't handle the swarm of heavy ninjas. Not to mention that at this time he still has Bai, who is a dragster. The 3 mist ninjas behind saw this and couldn't help but feel helpless. They weren't prepared to fight, so why would Zabuza react in such a big way? If they really wanted to take action, when Zabuza was distracted in the crowd just now, it would not be too easy to sneak up close and kill him with one strike. "Captain, how can we pay it back?" A fog ninja looked at the leader, who was Wu Quan. Wu Quan shrugged and said, "Zabuza has not been in the Kingdom of Water these years, so I don't know the changes in the Kingdom of Water in the past few months. But no matter what, we still have to catch him up and explain to him first. After all, Zabuza's talent is only one of the few in the village. If you can persuade him to come back, just persuade him to come back." The 2 fog ninjas who followed immediately nodded. Then, Wu Quan led the 2 of them and quickly chased Zabuza. At this time, he and Zabuza were both elite jonin, and since Zabuza had a child with him, he didn't think he would get lost. Therefore, in order to prevent Zabuza from losing control and causing harm to the surrounding civilians after catching up, Wu Quan just hung far behind Zabuza. The 2 groups of people chased each other away from the town. "Damn it! Why did you stop so fascinated just now?" As he ran, Zabuza cursed himself secretly. As long as he threw the detonating talisman just now, he would definitely be able to take Bai away safely, instead of running away like a bereaved dog. But the little girl's face stopped him, and looking at the kind eyes around him, he suddenly couldn't bear it. After all, this is a detonating talisman. If it explodes, given the population density just now, at least 10 people's lives will be affected. "You are a ghost. How can you be so soft-hearted?" Madara Jibwa hugged Bai and ran forward without stopping, looking back from time to time to look at Wu Quan and the others who were pursuing him. But they found that Wu Quan and the other 3 had been speeding up to chase him since they left the town. But he was holding the weak Bai in his arms. With the ebb and flow of the situation, it was only a matter of time before Damn it, I can only use that trick to kill people. Zabuza secretly felt worried in his heart. Then he quickly said, hold on to my clothes. Yes. Shiro immediately grabbed Zabuza's collar tightly. Zabuza, who had his hands free, quickly formed seals at this time. Water style, mist shinobi technique. Thick fog quickly began to spread around, completely covering Zabuza and Haku's figures in a moment, and the scope of the poison continued to spread. Wu Quan murmured, I see. Do you want this to be our sight and then escape? But soon, a smile appeared on his face. What a pity. It's me you met today. Saying that, he immediately formed seals. Wind style. Once the typhoon passes. Then, a hurricane swept through the entire place, taking away the thick radon gas. Damn it. How could he do this? Zabuza's expression suddenly changed. The mist shinobi technique is very famous in the mist ninja village. It is difficult to learn and even more difficult to master, and Zabuza is the leader in using this technique. This technique can fuse chakra into the mist, making the mist thicker and less likely to be blown away by ordinary wind style. In order to deal with this technique, Yagura has developed a wind style specifically for this technique. As soon as the typhoon passes, this technique is to condense the chakra into the hurricane to offset the chakra of the mist shinobi technique, so that the ammonia can be easily blown away. However, there are only a few Kiri ninjas who learn this technique, because they themselves know the mist shinobi technique, although most of them are not grandmaster. But what a coincidence is that Wu Quan has learned this trick before. It seems that we can only deal with it head-on. Zabuza sighed, and then stopped running away. After all, continuing to run was just a waste of energy, and he couldn't escape. Zabuza quickly turned around and looked at Wu Quan and the other three people with vigilance. Wu Quan took a step forward and said in a deep voice, Zabuza, we have no ill intentions. We caught up with you this time. We want you to return to the village. Return to the village? Zabuza immediately sneered. Why are you going back? I assassinated Mizukichi. Do I want to go back and let Yagura cause trouble for me? That's not the case. Wu Quan quickly explained. Yagura is dead. Nanny? Zabuza's eyes widened when he heard this. So that's it. The Uchiha clan actually came to the land of water, and Uchiha Chinwei became the fifth Mizukichi. No wonder there is no news about Uchiha in the ninja world. After listening to Wu Quan's description, Zabuza finally learned about the battle. Zabuza had been staying on the mainland for the past 2 years, so he naturally knew about Uchiha's defection. Since the Kingdom of Water is far away from the mainland, other countries do not understand what is happening in the Kingdom of Water, and the Kingdom of Water does not know much about what is happening on the mainland. Especially after Chen Hui came to power, all the spies in the Kingdom of Water have been eliminated by him, and other countries have completely lost their sources of information in the Kingdom of Water. So, it was his idea to let me return to the village? Zabuza asked with a frown. Wu Quan shook his head and said, No, Master Mizukichi never cares about these chores. This is Master Terumi Mei's idea. Now the village is in dire straits and needs your help. Come back, Zabuza. Fight with us for the village. Unexpectedly, Zabuza sneered at this moment. Haha, Mizukichi-sama can be called very smoothly. A bunch of groveling guys. Since the assassination incident 3 years ago, Zabuza has been completely disappointed in Lu Ninja. It was clear that Yagura was destroying the foundation of the Mist Ninja Village, but this group of Mist Ninjas turned a blind eye, which ultimately led to the Mist Ninja Village losing 70% of its combat power. Wu Quan sighed and said, It's not what you think. In the beginning, we were indeed forced to surrender because of Mizukichi-sama's invincible strength, but now, everyone in the Kiri Ninja Village has lost their prejudice against Mizukichi-sama, because it only took him half a year to really develop the Chongnin village. You also saw the way those civilians looked at the Mist Ninja today. Remember a few years ago? Everyone in China wanted to beat the Mist Ninja. But now, under Mizukichi-sama's measures, the Mist Ninja has become a hero-like existence in the hearts of the people of the Land of Water. In this atmosphere, the Blood Mist has long been far away from the village. This is the real hope that Mizukichi-sama brings to the Land of Water and the Mist Ninja Village. Unexpectedly, at this moment, Zabuza was still sneering. Everyone in the ninja world knows that the Uchiha clan has unparalleled genjutsu. Who knows if you fell into his genjutsu and fell in love with him? And those people in the town, are they all controlled by you? Just to trick me. But even though Zabuza said this with his mouth, he really believed Wu Quan's words in his heart. But after all, this is just Wu Quan's one-sided statement. Zabuza is still prepared to confirm it himself. So the next battle is inevitable. However, just when he was about to take action, a cold voice came over. You Zabuza are not qualified or capable of being coaxed by me. As he said that, two figures instantly appeared in the middle of Wu Quan and Zabuza. Advertisement. Chapter 75. Mizukichi-sama. Terumi Mei-sama. After seeing these two figures, Wu Quan and the other two people suddenly shouted excitedly. That's right, the two people who suddenly appeared were Chen Hui and Terumi Mei. Chen Hui nodded slightly and motioned for the three of them to wait aside. At this time, Terumi Mei looked at Zabuza and the other two. Zabuza, it's been so long. It's been more than 3 years, but it's been a long time since we last met. Even after meeting Terumi Mei, a former teammate, Zabuza still did not let down his guard, but became even more vigilant. If he had faced Wu Quan and the other three before, he just felt it was a little troublesome. Now that Chen Hui and the others arrived, he suddenly felt a sense of fear from the bottom of his heart. Before entering the Kingdom of Water, Zabuza had heard a little about Yuan Hui's power in the ninja world. After all, he is the one who can defeat the high-level officials of Konoha, join forces, and lead the tribe to fight out of Konoha. But at that time, Zabuza was only a little surprised at Chen Hui's age, but he didn't have any other big feelings. Until he heard Wu Quan's description of the battle half a year ago, Zabuza had a deeper understanding of Chen Hui's strength. How could he alone resist the power of crushing a ninja village with his own strength? Your name is Zabuza, right? Chen Hui's cold voice came, immediately pulling Zabuza out of his thoughts. 963 Yes, I wonder what Mizukichi wants from me. Zabuza replied with a hint of respect. The situation is stronger than the person. When facing Yuan Hui, he will read directly. Chen Hui said calmly, I have no interest in you, and I have no instructions, but Terumi Mei thinks your ability is pretty good, and will be helpful to the construction of Mist Ninja Village. So she asked me for a pardon, pardoning your previous offense of assassinating Yagura, even though Yagura really deserves to die. Then make your choice. Choose to accept the pardon Terumi Mei asks for you, or choose to refuse to return to the village. A trace of hesitation flashed across Zabuza's face. He wanted to refuse, but with Chen Hui's strength, he couldn't bear the consequences of refusal. At this time, Terumi Mei also spoke. Now you have seen the changes in the Kingdom of Water. The blood mist has gone away. The village is in a period of rapid development and requires the cooperation of various talents. Although you assassinated Yagura, your starting point was also for the Mist Ninja Village, so I invite you to resume your identity as a Sono Ninja. Zabuza immediately fell into a struggle. He must still love Kiri Ninja Village. Moreover, he has worked hard to take on various tasks over the years, and even returned to the Kingdom of Water to get the ninja sword at. All in order to earn enough, ADEG, money, and then launch another coup and change the Mist Ninja Village. But the changes in Mist Ninja Village, and even the Kingdom of Water over the years were beyond his expectation. Should he rejoin? He is not afraid of death. What he is afraid of is that Chen Hui is also a conspirator and will have a worse impact on Mist Ninja Village. At that time, his choice now is to help the evildoer. Chen Hui didn't pay attention to the confusion on Zabuza's face. The reason why he came here this time was naturally not for Zabuza. With elite Jonin's strength, he could kill a dozen of them with one slap. The only thing Chen Hui was interested in was Bai, who was watching the group of them carefully at this moment. To be precise, it's the Ice Escape blood inheritance limit in Bai's body. After fusing Three Tails chakra, Chen Hui naturally also possesses Ice Escape. But Chen Hui also has little understanding of this blood inheritance limit, so he needs Bai's help. This does not mean that Bai at this time can give guidance to Chen Hui, but that Chen Hui needs Bai's bloodline to unlock the seal of the Shui Wuyue clan. After the Minazuki clan was destroyed, all the clan's classics and secret techniques were collected by Yagura. However, there is a seal on it, so if you want to see it, you must have the blood of the Sui Wuyue clan. Chen Hui is not prepared to break the seal violently, otherwise it will be his loss if the contents inside are damaged. I am willing to return to the Kirin Ninja. Thank you Mizukichi-sama for your kindness. At this time, Zabuza, who had been struggling for a long time, made his choice. He still decided to trust Terumi Mei. After all, Zabuza was familiar with Terumi Mei's character. She was not someone who would put the Mist Ninja Village in danger. Hearing this, Chen Hui withdrew his eyes that looked at Bai. He shrugged a little boringly, and then said, In that case, let's go back. As he said this, the group suddenly felt dizzy, and they appeared again in Mizukichi's office. Seeing this miracle, The people who looked at Chen Hui suddenly became even more awed. Chen Hui didn't pay attention to the small looks from everyone. To him, it was just ordinary. Since building his own space, Chen Hui suddenly has a deeper understanding of spatial abilities. Teleportation is just child's play. Chen Hui sat on the Mizuki's chair, and with a move of his hand, a large number of scrolls were piled on the table in front of him. Then he looked at Bai with a smile and said, "Are you Bai? Can you please come over and do me a favor?" Shiro was a little at a loss, and he immediately looked at Zabuza. Zabuza said, "From now on, Mizuki-sama is my superior, and you need to treat him with more respect than I do." Bai nodded timidly, and then cautiously walked to Chen Hui's side. At this time, he was only 11 years old and was in the stage of being trained by Zabuza. His personality was still the same as when he was a child, gentle with. Chen Hui smiled when he saw this and said, "Don't be nervous. Come and try to transfer your chakra into the first scroll." Bai took the scroll and immediately started operating it according to Chen Hui's instructions. When Terumi Mei saw these scrolls, she immediately felt familiar, and she quickly remembered them. She suddenly looked shocked. Is this the secret scroll of the Minazuki clan? So this little guy is... Before Terumi Mei could finish speaking, Zabuzabai interrupted him in a deep voice. "That's right. Shiro is the only remaining bloodline of the Shui Wuyue clan." Hiss. Terumi Mei's eyes suddenly widened. But soon, she couldn't help but feel happy again. She was already very happy when Zabuza returned, and the Mist Ninja Village's strength further improved. But she didn't expect Zabuza to give her this great gift. With the presence of Minazuki Haku, it proves that the Minazuki clan, which was once powerful in the ninja world, still has hope for revival. This will greatly increase the strength of Mist Ninja Village, which is why Terumi Mei is so happy. Not long after, Bai used chakra to unseal all the scrolls. Now, Terumi Mei completely believed Bai's identity. Chen Hui smiled and nodded at Bai, saying, "You have helped me a lot. Well, you can also practice the ninjutsu on the scroll that you unlocked." Zabuza was shocked when he heard this. This was all the secret techniques of the entire Minazuki clan. Shiro didn't know what this meant at this time, but Zabuza knew very well. Bai is favored by Chen Hui and is ready to be well trained. Bai's strength will definitely be higher than his in the future. Zabuza said quickly, "Thank you soon, Mizuki-sama." "Thank you, Mizuki-sama." Bai then bowed to Chen Hui belatedly. "Work hard." Chen Hui smiled and nodded. Then he turned to Terumi Mei and said, "Let Shiro join the ninja school. I think his personality is a bit withdrawn. He might as well make some friends at school." "Yes, I'll arrange it right away." Terumi Mei responded excitedly. Today is another fruitful day for her. This feeling of watching Mist Ninja Village getting better and better really made her very happy. Of course, she will not forget Chen Hui who created all this. Without Chen Hui, perhaps the Mist Ninja Village would always remain the same bloody mist, without the glorious vitality it has today. Terumi Mei looked at Chen Hui with eyes that became more and more obsessed.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card, directly on my channel, or right here on the screen. And as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments too.